I'll call this Bang Bang.
Listen.
Seriously?
Oh, here we go.
Bang, bang.
Fucking McDonough. Fucking McDonough.
Bang, bang.
Fucking McDonough. Fucking McDonough.
Get fucked. Okay.
Bang, bang.
Fucking McDonough. Fucking McDonough.
Bang, bang.
Fucking McDonough. Fucking McDonough. Listen, he's not my guy.
Bang, bang.
Fucking McDonough. Fucking McDonough.
Bang, bang.
But the thing is this. I'm a YouTube content creator. Trust me.
Fuck you, you piece of shit. Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Okay? Let me get these cash apps because these are important.
Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Okay?
Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Okay? Crazy Sean is history.
Yo! What's up, people? We're back. Okay. We're back. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we had to play it safe there. You know, I porn bombed myself. That's like a big no-no. That's a big no-no. I porn bombs. That's a first. Very few people porn bomb themselves. It's a self-own. But I blame Phelpsy. Like, why is Phelpsy subscribing to that shit? It's bizarre. Bizarre, I tell you. But all right, cool. Anyway, we're back. Nice to see 1,800 of you back here. No problem. Everybody else will make it back soon, I'm sure. Okay, so you know what? Without further ado, let's just listen to this goddamn horrible, shitty fucking podcast, shall we? And just make fun of it again. So again, I was conflicted about, I'm like, do I give this guy any attention? But the man's talking a lot of shit. So. And just making shit up. And it's time to expose him a little bit more. Time to expose him, because he's a fraud. All right. So you see here, by the way, look at his other crossing the lines. It's like 232 views, 142, 166, 96. Even as like these ones only get like a couple thousand people. And then compare that to mine. Like, bro, I kill it. And nobody's listening to this shit. He turned the comments off. It's just, he doesn't know the first thing about marketing. But anyway,
this podcast is,
so we're going to make fun of him because fuck it. All right. Life is too short. We got to make fun of some people. And let's just listen to this. Let's do it.
The Crossing the Line with M.William Phelps presents in Mom's Basement Media Production. A warning about this episode. It contains language and subject matter some may find extremely offensive and upsetting.
Ooh.
Previously on 34 Fairview Road.
As far as the public face out there, I was the only one asking questions, and I became and just
the murder of troubling aspects of what's been going on up to this point. But the zenith of those is misrepresentations that were made by the Commonwealth to the defense. That was the date that we, the defense, requested any and all relevant information. We requested the phone itself or access to the phone itself. We requested any extraction reports. We requested any information attendant to that phone.
I got to pin the
voice
turtle
of
chat.
Karen Reed's high-priced Los Angeles-based attorney, Alan Jackson. She hires Jackson after her arrest in 2022 with an understanding that David Yannetti, completely competent on his own, will not be enough. In that opening clip, you'd think Jackson is talking about Karen's case, same as he is here.
The Commonwealth, through their representative, falsely denied having any access to the information on the phone and to the phone itself. That was a clear and intentional false misrepresentation and falsehood that was designed to keep us from knowing exactly what the Commonwealth had in their possession. It is inexcusable.
In those two clips you just heard, however, Jackson is not arguing Karen's case. Those clips are from 2019, years before John O'Keefe's death and Karen's arrest. Jackson is in a Nantucket, Massachusetts courtroom defending actor Kevin Spacey during his sexual assault case, using the same arguments he will later utilize during Karen Reed's 2024 trial.
All right, so first of all, I just pinned the turtle chat. If anyone wants to have their messages read out loud, click on that. We're good. So I love how he starts off with this. Oh, he defended Kevin Spacey. Yeah, and he did a great job, actually. And in that, Kevin Spacey may, in fact, be a gigantic pervert. He seems to certainly have been credibly accused by a lot of people. But the one in Nantucket was bullshit. Like, that's for goddamn sure. And it was exposed by Alan Jackson. Because Heather Unruh, the mother of a heterosexual male, like 18 or 19-year-old, who was working at a bar in Nantucket, all right, and texted she testified that she deleted text messages from her son's phone, the accuser. And the son claims that Kevin Spacey groped him or some shit or whatever. But the deleted text messages all said things like, "Oh my God, Kevin Spacey's here. And I think he's hitting on me. Should I fuck with him? You know, should I do this?" It's like, oh, like he was not a victim at all. And Alan Jackson exposed that. And it was great. And he found out like deleted messages and Celebrate and Rick Green was involved. It was great stuff. But he's like, he defended Kevin Spacey, so he must be a bad person.
In fact, Jackson refers to the same Massachusetts State Police digital forensics expert, Trooper Nicholas Garino. Karen and her crew obsessively go after and attack viciously over his work in her case and another murder in a town next door to Canton.
So first of all, I don't think Nicholas Garino was involved in the the Nantucket situation. I don't think that Nicholas Garino was involved in that. But immediately he's like, they obsessively attack him. Yeah, bro, the guy that helped covered up the murder of Sandra Birchmore, the guy that protected Matthew Farwell by saying he couldn't find 32,709 deleted text messages, that Nicholas Garino, pervert Nicholas Garino. Okay, yeah, he's a victim.
A second murder, which will also soon become part
Yeah,
of the
this is
Canton
supposed to be
conspiracy
impartial.
zone.
He's just looking for the facts.
Alan Jackson is a slick, smooth, smart, very intelligent, competent lawyer. As the former assistant head deputy for the Major Crimes Division in the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, Jackson prosecuted some of California's most notorious criminal cases, including the murder conviction of music icon Phil Spector. Before his venture into defending accused murderers and rapists, Jackson says working as a prosecutor gave him a deeper understanding of criminal cases from different angles.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. May it please the court. We are, as indicated in our papers, we are seeking summonses, and this is dealing with the animal control issue. That Rule 17 motion, we're seeking summonses directed at two entities, the Canton Animal Control and the Canton Town Clerk, both. We believe they both have records. We know they both have records. These are records that we need, the defense needs, to shine a light on Karen Reed's innocence. These are records that are essential to our theory of the case, and these are records that we have no other option to get but through a summons. They've indicated to us they have records.
In a condescending tone, Jackson claims the injuries are animal bite marks. His argument centers on getting his hands on animal control records, obviously to check the history of the Albert's dog.
Yep.
The goal here is to push the conspiracy narrative Karen initiated into the courtroom. It's a public relations move all the way.
It's actually not a public relations move. It's a very relevant move. She's trying to prove that a dog bit John. What else? Like what other their claim? And now what he doesn't point out here is some really important stuff, because this guy claims he's looking for facts and everything, right? So we're gonna disprove this guy with facts. We're gonna break this guy down what a liar he is. So we're gonna look for TB Daily News here. Can't cover up animal control records. Okay. So if you guys will recall, this is a motion from the Commonwealth early on. It says, the Commonwealth respectfully removes in response to the defense motion to inspect and copy these animal control records that the defendants be ordered to disclose the names of the investigators she tends to Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. So Brian Albert's attorney, Greg Henning, stated in a motion filed on May 3rd that the defense was lying when they said that Chloe, the German Shepherd, has a history of attacking humans. Right? It says here, by saying violent skin-piercing incident 4 months after John O'Keefe's death, the defense is asking the reader to conclude that the dog in question has a history of attacking human beings. As with other defense assertions, this is not true. Mr. Albert's dog escaped from a fenced yard and went after a neighbor's pet 4 months after John O'Keefe's death. There are witnesses to the incident and animal control paperwork documenting the ordeal. Okay, when the Alberts asked the neighbor how they could reassure her, she expressed an ongoing concern for walking her dog. But they also failed to point out that Kevin Albert asked this woman, what can we do to make this go away? They asked that. But the dog, the key thing here is that Henning says, he represents Brian Albert, that it's untrue. It is not true that the dog has ever bit a human being. And then that's why they filed the motion. This wasn't what did Phelps claim it was? This is some sort of PR thing. It's like, no, this guy, it's very relevant. And if the dog has a history of biting human beings, that's completely relevant. If they're arguing that John was bit by a dog, that's consistent, isn't it? So what's the issue here, pal? Why the bigger issue here to me was that Brian Albert lied. Brian Albert said that you're not going and the Commonwealth filed a motion opposing the animal control records being released. Why? If there's nothing to hide. And then they get the animal control records. And as it turns out, it shows that 2 people got sent to the ER when they were bit by Chloe. 2. So I guess they lied about that. But just PR. But okay. So that's one thing we've debunked. One lie we've debunked from Phelpsy already.
Everybody has a job to do. I think most logical civil people understand that. And most do it with integrity, honesty, and fortitude.
Oh, yeah.
Those accused of the worst crimes deserve the best defense they can afford. Karen Reed chose a leading expert in that regard to guide her through this process. And Jackson's first presentation in court during this hearing does not disappoint.
I cannot say that is a road rash. There's certainly not enough evidence to suggest that these wounds are consistent with a road rash. Well, she had to have at least talked about the fact that it was an animal, right? She had to. The Commonwealth had to have asked that question.
You hear that about the road rash part? That's what the Commonwealth initially said, that the marks on John's arms were abrasions, road rash. It's funny, they didn't say that during the trial. They said they actually were cuts that came from a taillight. I still can't believe they said that.
She actually said nothing about whether or not that's consistent with an animal because the Commonwealth very particularly did not ever pose that question.
Why would they? I'd ask.
Why would
You
they?
have convened a grand jury to indict a woman on a drunk driving hit and run resulting in a death. And all the evidence you have points to that crime, including.
But the dog bites, why would they? Because that's what people seeking truth would do. They would not immediately assume that he got run over by a car. They would look at his arm and be like, well, those kind of look like dog bites, don't they? Maybe we should. Oh, there's a dog that lives in the house. Maybe we should search the house and ask to look at the dog. Yeah, maybe we should do that. But nope.
Reed herself telling multiple people, I hit him. Where does a dog biting John O'Keefe even come into play?
First of all, she was never asked by the Commonwealth during the course of the grand jury about the injuries. It took a grand juror actually asking the question of the witness, and she said no.
I think it's clear from the medical experts weighing in on the injuries John sustained that Jackson is leaving a hell of a lot out.
Like what?
John also had wounds on his knee, face, and a fractured rib. And
Another lie. John had wounds on his knee, face. What did he say?
all of his experts weighing in on the injuries John sustained that Jackson is leaving a hell of a lot out. John also had wounds on his knee, face, and a fractured rib.
Knee, face, and a fractured rib. Yeah, the face comes from the punching. Okay, for sure. Okay, and a fractured rib. Anyone know? Yeah. He did testify that he had a fractured rib. Who can tell me in the chat right now, because you guys are smarter than him and you know more than him, who can tell me why the medical examiner testified that John had a fractured rib? Oh, Kerry knows it. Yeah, they specifically testified. If you actually listen, if you watch the trial, listen to the testimony, the medical examiner said that he had a broken rib from CPR. Fractured rib from CPR. She said it was caused by that. So this liar, he's just a liar. That's all Phelps is. He's a liar. Somebody who was seeking truth and just wanting to get to the bottom of it and presenting facts wouldn't present the ribs being broken as evidence of a car crash, because that's what he says. He says that's evidence of a crash, right?
She was never asked by the Commonwealth during the course of the grand jury about the injuries. It took a grand juror actually asking the question of the witness, and she said no.
I think it's clear from the medical experts weighing in on the injuries John sustained that Jackson is leaving a hell of a lot out.
Oh, yeah.
John also had wounds on his knee, face, and a fractured rib. And all of his wounds were indicative of being struck by a motor vehicle.
And all of his wounds are indicative of being struck by a motor vehicle. The medical examiner literally testified. Again, should we just debunk it by just bringing up the trial testimony? I don't have time to like dig through every single freaking, but I am certain, and you guys are clearly certain And there's also no knee injury either, right? You guys are certain too that the medical examiner testified that the broken rib, singular, I believe, came from CPR. She literally testified and said that. And if anybody wants to get that, maybe that's just what I'll do. I'll just go through this whole thing and just debunk it. And just to shut this guy up. Because nobody's listening to this anyway, so it doesn't matter. The people are like, oh, it's a hit piece on you. Yeah, but nobody's listening. Like, so what are you going to do? And when, like, this is when it's active. You know, this is when he's actively putting out new pods every week. And it's still getting killed by podcasts that haven't put out new episodes in years. Some of these podcasts, years.
What Jackson is doing, rather well, I might add, is building the blocks of reasonable doubt. When you create a conspiracy, you cannot shove the entire thing into people's minds. You have to spoon feed the narrative to the media or anyone you involve with the hope of them further selling it for you. Outside the courthouse after that hearing, Karen pushes the bar even higher, digging her heels in, now adding more to a script she has been writing all along, even lying about trying to save John's life by herself.
She lied about trying to save John's life by herself? Really? Because Jennifer McCabe didn't try CPR. Jennifer McCabe didn't go inside the house to get blankets or anything like that, or wake up anyone in the house to try to help out. Only Karen Reed did. Now, Kerry Roberts helped a little bit too. But Jennifer McCabe didn't help shit.
Fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. Just feels like no one else wants it.
Just because you didn't do it.
We know who did it. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do. And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. Yeah. I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Ooh. Really serious.
My name is M.William Phelps.
Oh, here it is.
I'm an investigative journalist and the true crime author of
No,
50
you're not.
books.
You
might know me from my #1 Apple podcast hit, Paper
No, we don't know you. Nobody knows you.
Ghosts, and my weekly show, Crossing the Line with M.William Phelps.
Nope.
I've spent the past 25 years in the true crime genre and have yet to come across a case like the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Now, this guy used his sister-in-law's murder as a way to propel his own career. Basically, he just constantly uses this. It's like, I was affected by this. And then I found an article talking about didn't even talk to her, some shit like that. He's literally just using the death of his, I think his brother's wife who was murdered to propel his own failing true crime career. Because we've seen where he lives. We've seen his house. It's like a poor person's. It's like a Kim Fair house.
Versus Karen Reed. This is season 1 of Crossing the Line with M.William Phelps presents 34 Fairview Road.
Ooh.
My name is Jen Altman. I'm a
Jen Altman,
therapist, and I live in Hudson, Massachusetts.
And so how did you become interested in this story?
So I first heard about it when it first started. And of course, I thought, like everybody else thought, that it was a tragic accident. She backed into him. And then I just remember reading that they upgraded her charges to murder. So I was really curious about that. So I had some friends pull the charging reports for me. And I just felt like something didn't seem right. I mean, this is a successful, educated, beautiful woman. And what would be her motive for murdering her boyfriend? I didn't get it. So I followed the case on and off for about 7 months. And in April of 23, when the How Long to Die in the Cold came out with Jennifer McCabe, I really got interested in it. And I'm very vocal on Facebook. I have my opinions and I let them be known. And I started commenting on Facebook. And about a few days later, a woman named reached out to me and said,
Natalie,
we want to thank you for supporting Karen.
Karen, during her endless nights of scrolling, came across this information and, according to the woman whose name I bleeped out, asked her to contact Jen Altman.
Wait. So that's true, I believe. So the evolution of this story, April 12th, the Google search comes out. Jen Altman starts making comments that were like, I knew this was bullshit from the beginning. And I hadn't reported it yet, but it was gaining a little traction on the mainstream media talking about it. This new filing on April 12th about the Google search. And she's like, I knew this was bullshit. This woman's innocent. Karen Reed apparently sees that and asks Natalie to reach out to her. Now, one of the biggest mistakes Karen Reed made was people like, oh, she never should have associated with Turtle Boy. No, Karen's biggest regret, I'm sure, is ever associated with Natalie. Because if Karen could go back and do it again, she would just reach out to Jen Altman herself. And she would just reach out to me herself, because who gives a fuck? Like, think about it. Like, she put a lot of faith and trust in this psychopath, this absolute psychopath named Natalie, who is a complete nut job, unstable, just insane, immature, just a joke. And she trusted this woman. Now, Natalie doesn't have anything incriminating or anything like that, but Natalie just has screenshots, and she's not afraid to share. Oh, look at all these screenshots showing I was an intermediary between Aidan and Karen. And okay, none of that means shit, but those screenshots wouldn't exist if Karen didn't trust Natalie. I mean, that's probably the biggest mistake she ever made, was trusting Natalie. Now, I didn't know Natalie. Karen Reed knew her. Karen Reed went to college with her 20 years ago, and she says she barely remembers her. So Natalie saw this whole thing happening on the news and didn't think it smelt right, and she reached out to Karen to offer her support. And so Karen would take any support she could get back in the day. And she's like, okay, this woman wants to help out. Sure. And she's like, can you reach out to this woman, Jennifer Altman? And Jennifer Altman, then on April 17th, so they start talking. On April 17th, I start digging into this. And so I make a post saying, guys, I'm reading about the craziest story ever involving a Boston cop who appears to have been murdered by another Boston cop and other people, and blah, 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 blah. And it gets the attention of a lot of people, including Jennifer Altman, who sees it. And Jen Altman and I have known each other for several years. And she, reaches out to me and says, hey, just to let you know, I am in touch with a woman by the name of Natalie, who is friends with Karen Reed, and says, that you're on the right track or something like that. I forget how it was phrased. And I'm like, cool. Honestly, I didn't really need Karen Reed for this. Like, the only thing at first, okay, she definitely has provided me with information that I couldn't get in other places. A lot of good things that always turned out to be true, right? That came with receipts. But I didn't even really need her to write the first story. It writes itself, right? The everything came from the court filings, all of it. All the information I had came directly from Alan Jackson's 92-page affidavit filed on April 12th, and then other filings before that I went through the whole thing, and so Jennifer Altman is relevant to this story because she is the one who, because of her big mouth on social media, got the attention of Karen Reed and Natalie, and it kind of hooked me up with them. Now, so that night when I'm writing the story, I did have some questions that I was confused about, because a lot of this is confusing. And so I started texting Natalie, and she would have questions answered. Like, okay, do you have a picture of Jennifer McCabe? Sure. Sends it over. So the court filings reference this. Do you have a picture of this? Sure. So basically what the conversation with Karen Reed and Natalie did on the night of April 17th, and I was not talking directly to Karen, I was talking to Natalie, who I thought was like an expert on the case, but as it turns out, she was just copying and pasting messages from Karen Reed. She didn't know anything. All that did was give me a bunch of pictures. Like the first article, part 1 of the Canton cover-up, would have had the same written content, just dramatically less pictures, because I didn't have any pictures of the McAlberts. And so that's what that provided me with. All right. So that's that. So that's Natalie's role. And so he's interviewing Jennifer Altman here.
What were some of the things you were posting on Facebook? Some of the comments?
That I didn't think she was guilty, that I believed that Jen McCabe Googled how long to die in the cold, and that was exculpatory evidence, and they should drop the charges right away.
True.
And what made you believe that?
Well, technology today, how could that be? I mean, phones tell us so
What
much.
made you believe that? The receipts, motherfucker. That's what made me believe that. there's literally entered into evidence pictures of Cellbrite data extraction reports showing that she Googled it and then deleted the search. It says it right on it. That's what made me delete it. I mean, that's what made me believe it, is the fact that it says that she deleted it. Okay. And Turtle Chat should be posted. People like post Turtle Chat. It's posted, brother, isn't it? Is it not? It's oh, is that? That's not Turtle Chat, is it? Fuck. Hold on. Hold on. I wish somebody said something to me. Hold on. I got to find Turtle Chat. Fuck. All right, hold on. Wait, or that was Turtle Chat. That was Turtle Chat. That is Turtle Chat pinned to it, isn't it? You guys fuck me up when you say things like that. Post Turtle Chat. But I don't think it's pinned. I don't think that's the Turtle Chat pin. YouTube banned our donations from the chat. Here's our own Turtle Chat. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's pinned right on there. Who's talking about it's not pinned on there? It is right on there. I think it is pinned. People fuck me up in the comments when they say shit. And by the way, I just wanted to take this moment to wish Laura from London a happy birthday. Okay. I'm really bad with remembering birthdays, but November 30th is her birthday. Even though right now it's London, it's no longer her birthday because it's December 1st. But everybody wish Laura from London a happy birthday. Without her, none of this would be possible. Okay. She does so much work behind the scenes as far as running social medias for me, doing graphics for me, the store. I mean, the customer service. If you ever dealt with TB customer service, it's probably her. She does. She's great. She's fantastic. And it's her birthday. Belated, but still, it is in America. It's still her birthday. So happy birthday to Laura from London. So thank you very much. Okay, cool. All right. So where was I? All right. Let's get back to actually speaking of turtle chats, let's read some because we haven't done that. Why don't we read some turtle chats here? All right. First up, we got Hillary sends $100. You guys are too nice. And says, "Hi, Unc. Now following from Florida, on the mend from cancer too. Oh, God bless you. God bless you, Hillary. Thanks for all you're doing for Karen. Bang, bang. I appreciate that, Hillary. And, much respect and much love for you dealing with that horrible virus or disease, whatever the fuck cancer is considered. But I appreciate the dono very much. And we're going to get justice. I promise." Sarah sends $10 and says, "The podcast has great reviews on Reddit. I read them. It looks like they are written by the same retarded person. And as usual, they blame you for false information. And he's so great. Justice for you, Karen and Officer O'Keefe." Again, I have not directed anyone to give bad reviews. They're blaming me. People are like, oh, he's directing people to give bad reviews to us on iTunes. I haven't directed anyone to do that. People are doing that on their own, and they're free to, because, if people don't like something in America, they can leave a bad comment. It's like, Jesus Christ, if you put out a better podcast, you'd be getting better reviews. What do you want me to say? All right. It's not my fault. All right. Thank you. Erica Madden sends $50. Thank you, Erica. She says, "Please join myself, Tom CPU, his mods, and Jennifer Stockdale for an amazing family holiday fundraising event Sunday, 12/8, 5 to 8:30 p.m. Please see the Justice page for the most recent flyer with all of the details. The Star Drive-In is at 205 Merrick's Street, East Taunton. This one is not to be missed. I think it's right off of Route 140. I want to say right near the Lakeville border with Taunton. Taunton's like huge. Like it touches everything. Like you're like, what? This is still fucking Taunton? But yes, thank you. So the Star Drive-In Theater is doing an event for that on December 8th. It is posted everywhere. So go check it out. And thank you very much for doing that, Eric and Madden. Appreciate that. Joseph sends $10 and goes, can you tell Ginny to stay awake for the show? Wake up, Ginny. Wake up. We got a lot of shit to get through here. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Lorena on the Cash App sends $5 and goes, tell them the bunny never went into the house. RIP. I know. We got to talk about that bunny too. Thank you very much, Lorena. Jen sends $10, goes to the female that made Chris Albert cry at the Legion. Epic. Yeah. So I guess Chris Albert was at the Legion the other day drinking on Halloween Eve with his son, Chris Jr. and Colin, who is not 21. So he's doing some underage drinking at the Legion. And his other son, Dylan, is a little shithead, trashing houses of immigrants in minorities in Canton. And we're going to get to that too. So thank you very much, Jen. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's just take a brief pause with that. Let's talk about what the fuck happened there, shall we? Let's talk about what happened there. We'll get back to crapping on Phelpsy. And if anyone else wants to donate, Turtle Chat is linked to the top. You can check it out there. Okay. Oh, there's me. Oh, yeah. This is the Karen. So it's 63rd. So he's moving up. That's good. Again, that's what happens when you put out 2 podcasts in 24 hours. But Karen, the podcast from Law and Crime, which ended months ago, is still ahead of it. Still ahead of it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. All right. What else? Oh, I love this one. You know, when they say the silent part out loud. So I don't know who these, I don't know who this person is. Salty, just one of the many accounts that is just obsessed with me. I don't know who this woman is. They're all women too. They can't get enough. It's bizarre. And she says, most of the Turtle Riders think I hate Karen Reed because of Turtle Boy. No, most Turtle Riders don't know who you are, care, or think much about you at all, random lady on Twitter. But the truth is, I'd let Karen walk if it meant Aidan going to prison. I hate Aidan because of Aidan. Just wanted to clear that up, and Julie Carpenter agrees with that, which I don't think they understand what they're just kind of proving the point here, that the only people who, you know, pretend like most of the people that say Karen Reed is guilty are just mad at me. Like, that's it. And she said the part out loud. She's like, I would literally let Karen Reed go free, even though I pretend to believe that she killed a man. I pretend to believe that. But, you know, she's like, admits it right here. I'd let her go free if it meant Aidan going to prison, because I just don't like Aidan. All of my anger towards Karen is a result of my hatred of Aidan. So there's that, you know. And this is the other thing I asked the other day. I go, can you guys, I'm like, let's talk about, I'm like, this is such a, just business wise, it's a horrible, the reason this podcast is failing is because it's taking the position that Karen Reed is guilty and I'm a bad person. But that's just not how the public opinion is, brother. It's just not. Like, come out, spend a day with me, Phelpsy. You and me will go to the next Patriots game and walk around together. I'll be wearing my free Karen Reed shit. What? I won't be able to walk fucking more than 10 feet without somebody asking to take a picture of me. That's just a fact. No matter what day it is, no matter what, I go out to dinner tonight, multiple people come up to me, say thank you for your work. It happens every time, like clockwork. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because that's just a fact. And it's proof that, like, this is, well, my work is clearly valued and appreciated with this. Like, the common man, anywhere you go out in public, they agree with me. All this dislike of me is just on social media. That's it. It's fake. It's all fake. All right. The people love Turtle Boy. And so I'm like, okay, I asked people, you know, can you show me public opinion polls of what it looked like. Like, what did people think of this? All right. And so it's like, okay, because I forgot, I can't screenshot and go back at all. And so you go on any public opinion poll. This is Law and Crime. What will the jury's verdict be? 89% say not guilty. Court TV. Battle of the Reconstructionists. Who do you think had more impactful testimony? It looks like more people believed Dr. Wolf and Rentschler than Trooper Paul. Yeah. Is Karen Reed guilty of manslaughter? Lawyer You Know's channel. Lawyer You Know is just a guy who, you know, I've criticized. I like him, but if you recall, I criticized him during the trial because I'm like, bro, come on, you know, be more assertive. You know, Karen's innocent. You know that this is fucked up what they're doing here. And, you know, he's very nice guy, very right down the middle, unbiased, whatever. And his audience says 95% not guilty of manslaughter. They were 96% on murder, 95% on manslaughter. You know, Vinnie Politians, 87% say not guilty. How about this one? Only 7% said Karen Reed would be found guilty. That's it. Right. July 1st at 2:04 p.m. Right. Only 12% said she was guilty of anything. That's on Law and Crime. This is from June 26th. 83% said not guilty. Only 10% said guilty. If you were on the jury, what would your verdict be? Yeah, not guilty. Overwhelming. I mean, just look at it. It's wild. You know, it's just wild how overwhelmingly people say that she's not guilty. All right. And let's check out this one. I got this. Somebody, I think Nikki here did a good little mashup here of it. Wait, no, Emily, that's the wrong one.
About a lot of what Phelps felt about a lot of what Turtle Boy thinks is evidence is really more just opinion or speculation. The way Phelps felt about a lot of what Turtle Boy thinks is evidence is really more just opinion or speculation, right? Or is something
or distorted things put out by the defense in a distorted way, you know?
Right, or things that were clearly.
Are you surprised the jurors couldn't reach? Yes, I'm surprised. Do you agree with this immediate? Yes, 17%.
Provided directly from Karen herself, right? That couldn't be verified through other ways. Right. So
Lawyer Lee, yeah, not guilty on all counts.
You know, Turtle Boy doesn't want to hear the way.
It's just like talk about just not reading the room. I mean, so the bottom line here is like, I'm not saying this because I don't run a cult this big. The sex cult is not this big. These people, like, I can't control the fact that 87% of people who watch Vinnie Politan think that she's not guilty. I can't control that. It's just the facts dictate that. The facts dictate that, you know? So, and the glare is just killing it with these goddamn memes. The Phelpsy memes. Phelps looks like he was once a photographer, but all the glamour shots closed down at the malls with the invention of the iPhone. So he started on a multi-level marketing scheme that he runs out of his Ford Tempo. Where does he come up with this shit? And Goat Boy is in this nearest one, this most recent episode. He made a good point. He says, how incredibly tone deaf is it to speak about Sandra Birchmore only as it pertains to what Turtle Boy said about her? Bravo, sir. Bravo. Bravo. And they keep sharing this one too. I think it's a good one. I think it is kind of a funny picture. It is kind of a funny picture. So there's that. Okay. Oh, and how about this one? Let's not forget Hank Brennan. All I heard about was, Spanky Brennan. Spanky Brennan was going to kill it. That he was going to come in here and new sheriffs in town. Dude, bro has a lower batting average than Tony Pena. Am I right? I mean, he's like, what the fuck? It's like Adam Dunn. I don't know. One of those guys that hit like 205 their whole career. He is struggling, dude. He is struggling. He come out. Hank the Tank's going to come out here, and he's going to come in here. Oh, we're going to get phones, and now they're going to get them. And he's like, okay, bro, you're off to a rough start, Spanky. You're off to a rough start. I don't. It's just so funny. It's just so funny how bad he is at this. So there's that. So tough start. They didn't get the Reed cell phones. Sucks to be them. Oh yeah. So we did get I did a public records request for Morrissey's emails, and we got him back. I contend that there's a bunch of emails missing, and we're going to explain why in court. But I did notice, like, some of his emails, like, he just shits on he used this email account all the time to conduct government business. He was constantly emailing judges, and like this one to Mary White, some judge. Good news. I'm not sure what's more screwed up, the vaccine program or the trial courts. Like, oh, okay. So anyway, yeah, I mean, at least it's really popular with Karen's Angry Tampon. Loved it. So he's got that going for him. That's a big market. The Karen's Angry Tampon market. That's big. Okay. And Flipperhead, we got to watch some of his videos. He's killing it as well. Oh, so Dylan Albert. That's what we came on here for. There they go. Las Vegas cops. Love those guys. Oh, there's the buffalo chicken dip. See what? It hadn't settled. It was like fresh. You know what I mean? Like, you settles a little more. It looks better. I promise. Oh, how about this one? This new one. Remember they said that Karen Reed bumped into John's Traverse on purpose because she knew that she had broken her tail light, killing John. So she's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bump into the car and make it look like we broke the tail light that way. But yet we have this tweet saying she didn't even remember bumping the Traverse until a year later. But I thought that was the whole plan. I thought the whole dastardly plan was to, bump into it on purpose. I thought that was the plan. Was it not, folks? I guess not. Okay. Hold on. What day of the trial? Let's see. Somebody found the medical examiner's testimony. We'll bring that up in a minute. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, so, I first reported on, what was it, Wednesday, that there was a video of some kids trashing a house. Now, I had no evidence that any of the McAlbert kids were involved in this. None. And so I put it out there, and I specifically wrote in my story, I don't have any evidence of this, so I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. Just what people are saying. Not going to, whatever. Hour later, I get proof. And this is what Kerry Llama, the new star of his failing podcast, says. He is insinuating certain teens were involved due to his personal grudges, and that's not the case. Enough with the bashing of certain ones. They have enough to deal with. Oh, they're so innocent. Their names are not even the ones you're trying to target with this disgusting post. Well, as it turns out, it was them, because we went and we got some video. So here is a video from the incident. So there's a house over in York Street, which is near Randolph, I believe, in Canton, and some Indian girl who's new. I don't know if she's new to town or what. She invited some friends over to party in her dad's house, the house that her dad's building. All right. And it's empty. And it looks like a nice house. I'm sure it's at least $1 million, this house, or at least it was, until all these idiots came over, all these jocks and these meatheads, and they start kicking around this dead rabbit. And again, I don't know that they killed this rabbit. For all I know, the rabbit was dead inside the house. I am not accusing them of killing this rabbit. They might have killed the rabbit, but I don't know. The rabbit could have been dead. We don't, because I only report facts. Unlike Phelpsy, I only report facts. So, did she really? Oh, dude, Peggy Bundy is a trip, dude. She's wild. She's saying everybody, oh, you guys are all going to get sued. She said it's a crime. She said it's actually against the law to accuse somebody of murder. Basically, she said that if they haven't been charged with it. So she's now posting that Auntie Deb and others be charged with a crime because of doing a supposed comedy sketch. Yeah, so she's really, really mad about that one, about the Auntie Deb joke about, she's a little late on that one too. That was like a week ago. She's really mad that Auntie Deb made a joke about Julie Nagel being a stuffed pig. And I died. People were there. I stood up. I'm like, oh my God, that's too funny, you know? But anyway, thank you for that one. Okay. So here is video of the incident.
Hell no! Oh, hell no!
All right. So this is Dylan Albert. Okay. So that's Dylan Albert. So that's Chris's youngest son. And people are like, so why is this relevant? Oh, he didn't do any destroying. Bitch, he was present where a fucking house was destroyed. It's like, oh, we all did shit when we were kids. No, I've never done this. Now they brought up my courthouse records. So they brought up my shit, right? And I've been over this before, what I did. So my Google trophies, the history of my Google trophies, I got 2. All right. I got the ones from 2008. It says malicious destruction of property, and it's dismissed upon payment restitution. So if you haven't heard this story, I was in a feud with my landlord. All right. Because they stole my keg. Like the landlord didn't like me and my roommate, and we didn't like him, or her rather. It was her, but it was her boyfriend Chaunch that was the real problem. Chaunch was an asshole. Chaunch came up and he was like big tough guy. And he's like, yo, what, you guys making a mess outside? You guys better cut the fucking shit. Relax, Chaunch. And then one day, Chaunch stole a keg. We had a keg of beer, half full, and then it was just gone. And it was in our apartment, and only he had the key. So he stole our keg. So we're like, fuck this guy. And on the way out, I put hamburger meat in the drop down ceiling as a little going away present. Okay. A little prank. I put the hamburger meat in there. And I guess, you know, it stunk. The whole thing stunk. And one of the ceiling panels, you know, it kind of like the meat started seeping through. And so one of the ceiling panels had to be replaced. That was the extent of my destruction of property. And, you know, I did it. Like there was no one else could have done it. And they just wanted me to replace the ceiling panel. So I gave him a couple $100 and it was over. That was the end of it. So they stole our keg and we took down one of the ceiling panels. So guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. All right. That is not the same thing as going into a house and just fucking it up for absolutely no reason at all. Like that's not quite the same thing. I know they think it is, but it's not quite. And I paid for it. So like it's done, dismissed, it's over. The other one was in 2003. All right. And so I used to work at Valet Park of America. I used to be a valet park driver. And there was an account at this, the hotel no longer exists. Mass College of Pharmacy now. It used to be called the Crown Plaza Hotel in Worcester. And there was a safe in the, there's a booth there where all the money was kept. And I guess the safe was stolen. All right. And so the boss on this account, on this, the Crown Plaza was some guy, I think his name was Jim. I don't remember his name, but he was the boss of this account. And he was the brother-in-law of the owner. All right. And so they put up cameras in the booth after that. I didn't even fucking know. So cameras put up. And me and my buddy, who's like, you know, one of my best friends, actually, I was the best man at his wedding and vice versa, Albanian kid. And, you know, he's like, yo, we wanted beer money, so we took 40. Like we took $40 out of the register. Okay, and I got caught on the camera doing it. Okay, and we ended up getting caught. It's like they thought I stole the safe. They actually came to my friend, and the Worcester police tried to shake him down, and they were like, "Look it, we don't think you stole the safe. We think you know about Aidan stealing the safe." And he was like, I don't know shit. He's like, I would tell you if I did, but he didn't tell me about anything about a safe. They ended up finding out who stole the safe. It was Jim. Jim stole the fucking safe. They ended up catching him later on. Jim stole his own brother-in-law. The brother-in-law of the owner stole the boss stole the fucking safe. Okay. I stole $40. I took $40 out, and so did my friend. We each took $40, put $40 in our pocket, and we got caught because they were trying to catch the safe, whatever. So guilty as charged. I took $40, and we ended up getting a quaff over it. Everybody gets a quaff, and it's over. It's just done. And it was one of a million summer jobs that I had that I no longer had. I've had a million fucking one jobs before. Movie theater I used to work at. I used to work at freaking the liquor store in Worcester, State Liquor it was called at the time. I think it's called Austin Liquors now. Doing bottle returns, had some schemes going there. Like everybody, they bring in the cans. Everybody bring in that was the thing. And I used to work that job in high school. People would bring in the cans, and this is back before there was machines for the cans, and you just write it up. Be like, oh, bring in 3 cans, $6.40. Here you go. People knew that. And we would just get drunk all day that was my favorite job, working at State Liquor. Every day, my first day at work there, you're like, okay, you're working in bottle returns. Okay, cool. Well, we just organize shit. Miller products go here. Coors products go here, whatever. Okay. That's your job. People bring in the cans, you throw them away. A lot of bums are going to come in here, and you just throw it. Shit's nasty. You throw it away. Okay. And I sit down, and there's this guy, Dave, there. He's like, probably in his 50s, grizzled, doesn't give a fuck about anything. And Dave is just like, so, and this other guy, Mikey, worked there too. He was my age. And they're like, so this is orientation. This is how shit works around here. So he's like, you're going to go back to the cooler right now, and you're going to grab a Coke. Okay, cool. I'll go get a Coke, open it. Now you're going to dump it out. Okay, I'm going to dump it out. I dump out my Coke. And then we're going to go, and we go back to the cooler, and we open up a beverage of our choice, and then you put it in the Coke. And this is what we do all day. We just drink all day. And I'm like, oh, I like this job. This is going to be my favorite job. I loved my job at State Liquor. It was great. So anyway, I've had a lot of jobs like that. And so that was one of my that was I was probably 21 years old, working at Valley Park, took $40, got it. Oh no, yeah, so bad. And you know what? I took responsibility for it. I took the quaff, and I think I had to pay restitution on it too. So there's that. So whatever. Anyway, I didn't do anything like this. And Dylan Albert, okay, this is emblematic of something much larger. It's the fact that these McAlberts think that they can do anything, that there are no repercussions for their behavior. And because their parents have taught them this. Their parents have taught them this from a young age, that they are special, that they can do anything they want because of, their status as elitists in Canton, that they can do anything that they want. And, but we film. So there's that. So what else is there? There was the other, what's this one? No, there he is right there. So that's Dylan Albert again. Again, they're all in there drinking, partying, losing. So yeah, that's that story. Now, I don't really have that much else to say about that. Boys will be boys. People will do what they do, but the normalization of this all from the McAlbert apologists online is just problematic, in my opinion. Again, this is an Indian girl. parents building what they destroyed. She invited a few people, more people came. She left. There you go. So yes. All right, cool. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the Phelpsy thing.
Much. They use phones in every crime, they use their motions, their Google searches, their everything to prosecute people. And how could that be wrong? And if she Googled that at 2:30 in the morning, Karen had to be innocent.
This is exactly how you hope the machine works when you are spreading propaganda. Karen gets that Google.
It's not propaganda. It's relevant evidence. But go ahead.
Google search information out into the public domain, which puts a bounty on Jennifer McCabe's head, making her public enemy number one.
As it should. As it should. She Googled how long did I had cold at 2:27 a.m. because she was planning to see how long it would take for John O'Keefe to die when he was put out there. She's a cold-blooded murderer and she deserves to burn in hell. Karen Reed didn't make me do that. Her own Google search made me feel that way.
Yet that 2:27 a.m. analysis is done by what the court later proves is an incompetent digital forensics expert.
Wait, did I miss that? Did the court declare that Richard Green was incompetent? Again, this guy's just looking for facts. He said the court determined
Richard bounty on Jennifer McCabe's head, making her public enemy number one. Yet that 2:27 a.m. analysis is done by what the court later proves is an incompetent digital forensics expert.
So incompetent. The court proves that Richard Green is incompetent. I must have missed that. The part where Richard Green was proven to be incompetent. Did I miss that from a guy who's just chasing the facts?
Richard Green, Karen's paid expert, as we went through in a previous episode, embarrasses himself during her...
Embarrasses himself. Says who? Again, this is the guy, this is how you know he's losing it. At least early on in the episodes, he was trying to pretend that he was not biased. Now, this is what I do to people. I make him take the mask off. He's not pretending anymore. He's using words like he embarrassed himself. I don't think he embarrassed himself.
2024 trial and apologizes for the report and affidavit he wrote misinterpreting the information.
Okay, so he keeps referencing this. We need to debunk this, shall we? Let's find this. I want to see the apology, the advanced search at Let's see if I can find it from my old tweets. If anyone has the clip of when he apologized in court, he did not apologize for that. What he claims that he apologized for. Hold on. He claims that he said he apologizes for the report and affidavit he wrote misinterpreting the information, that he apologized for it. Is that what he apologized for on the stand, guys? Do you guys remember what he did? Did he apologize for that on the stand? I think he apologized for something else. Let's see. Okay. Let me see. Does anybody know what he apologized for causing any because Lally was having a tough time with it. I need help from the chat here because I didn't have time to look this shit up. But what did he apologize for? He apologized for making Lally flustered, right? That's what he did. For any distress he caused. Let me see if now I got to go find it. Let's go find it. Fuck it. We're going to just break this down one by one. Karen Reed trial, Richard Green. What day did he testify on? He testified on June 22nd. Okay. So that would be day, what, like 29 of the, let's see, Karen Reed trial, day 29. Let's see that. Yes. Let's see if we can get that apology. We're going to find it. We're going to debunk this asshole.
And that's a forensic term that we use. Essentially, it's a copy of the data that's encapsulated in reference.
What does that mean? Is this or so? Aware that that is actually related to a time that it was actually focused on the screen as opposed to your interpretation of it?
Yeah, the Cellbrite physical analyzer. I'm trying to the artifacts of that phone.
So just to conclude, that's not what you said in your affidavit that was actually filed under pains and penalties of perjury with this court, correct?
Yes, and on that day, that is what my true and proper belief was. Okay, it's since further testing, I have found that I now believe that that was probably an automatic one, and if I've caused you any distress, I apologize.
There it is. There it is.
Okay.
What I'm asking, sir, is that you?
Hold on. We're gonna see what he apologizes.
Belief was similar, if not the as much.
Mr. Lally.
I'm sorry.
One person at a time.
Something would come up. I also noticed the specific phrase, how long does it take to die from hypothermia? So as you do this Google search, you try to repeat what's being done. Those are two suggestions that actually came up.
And so that was something that was a suggestion and not something that was actually searched, correct?
Yeah, no, and I know this different from my affidavit from about a year and a half ago, in all fairness, but
that's entirely different.
One person, Mr. Lally.
I'm sorry.
One person at a time.
Okay, so yeah, in fairness, I want to give you my best knowledge as I understand it in here today, including after my review of Mr. Whiffen and Ms. Hyde's report. So I want to do everything I can to shine as much light and clarity on this as possible. So as I repeated, since that time and did the search, I would notice that is one of the things that would come up, and it would have a little picture of like a dinner plate or something like that, and there was actually a similar, if not the same, picture found in the artifacts of that phone.
So just to conclude, that's not what you said in your affidavit that was actually filed under pains and penalties of perjury with this court, correct?
Yes, and on that day, that is what my true and proper belief was. Okay, it's since further testing, I have found that I now believe that that was probably an automatic one, and if I've caused you any distress, I apologize.
I'm causing you any distress.
Okay.
What I'm asking, sir, is that that's what you filed because that's what you thought at the time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And subsequently, you've done further testing, and that's shown that you were wrong, correct?
That is correct.
Now, according to your affidavit, there was a search.
So he apologized for causing Adam Lally distress because he updated upon finding out new information his affidavit. So that's what he says. He apologizes because Lally can't understand. Yeah, he's talking about populated searches on Google. It's a totally separate issue, right? So what did Phelps claim that he's apologizing for? What did Phelps claim he apologized for?
And so Karen's paid expert, as we went through in a previous episode, embarrasses himself during her 2024 trial and apologizes for the report and affidavit he wrote misinterpreting the information.
He apologized for his report misinterpreting the information. No, he apologizes for causing any distress, he says, to him. That's it. That's he also said that the Google search happened. But there's that. Okay, he's incompetent.
So that one-sided 2:27 a.m. search that did not happen becomes
that did not happen.
People read it, share it.
That did not happen. He knows this is a fact. It didn't happen. What?
Post it. And what is later proven to be false information spreads like an aggressive infection.
She started telling me that they believed John had gone in the house and been beaten up by the homeowner and a couple other people that were at the house. Then Aidan put out a little blurb, and I've read Aidan for 5 years. We've been friends. And he wrote, I have this story I'm going to write. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, this woman reached out to me. She said she's friends with Karen Reed, and can I connect you to? And then the next day, Aidan wrote his first story.
So Turtle Boy and Karen Reed now have this direct line into each other.
And Karen Reed.
Karen has the perfect bullhorn on her side to promote a conspiracy with help from her flashy Hollywood and Boston-based.
So she's promoting me to bitch, I've been doing this for years. I was writing the story whether or not I spoke with Natalie, who was talking to Karen Reed. I didn't need Karen Reed to write this story. I got pictures like that. That was the totality of what I basically got from them that night. As time went on, obviously I found out more and more evidence that, again, she could back up. The other side, I'd ask the other side, do you guys have any evidence? They never did.
Attorneys. In every big lie, a kernel of truth exists. A nugget of information that is essentially the seed out of which that big lie sprouts. The truth is a mountain of rock. It does not move. It stands tall and solid, all on its own, and cannot be shaken. It is also inherent inside all of us. You don't have to remember the truth. And liars generally lie about the big things and forget smaller, seemingly unimportant details. Several independent sources have shared texts between Turtle Boy and Karen Reed with me. And just to show you how this works, here is Aidan talking about that third party later on, after that person turns on Karen and Turtle Boy and speaks to the police.
What is that like? I'm going to ask you when this is done. We will fly to you. We will ask this question. And if you don't answer, then your mother will answer, won't you? Because you still in the business, right?
Furniture.
After this is all said and done, Just remember this. This is your mark forever. You chose this. You chose to align with cop killers.
She did.
You did that. So you made your bed, and now you're going to sleep in it.
Yep.
And right now we have our hands full with other things. But your time's coming. Just know that.
In these texts.
Yeah, it's true. Like Natalie Bernschneider Wowecki sided with cop killers. That's just a fact. She did. She was on the side of good, and then Karen didn't want to be her best friend, and so she decided to align herself with pure evil. That was Natalie's choice. She chose to do that. And when this is all said and done, Karen Reed's going to be acquitted. I'm going to be acquitted, and she's going to be on the side of cop killers. So that's just a fact.
We get a glimpse into how Karen utilizes and I would argue uses Turtle Boy.
Was that
how she begins to feed him only the material she wants out into the public after being put through Turtle Boy's rather unorthodox way of spin. It's clear that Karen Reed is pushing Turtle Boy toward this conspiracy to frame her and selling him hard on it.
Actually, the facts were pushing me towards the conspiracy, but go ahead.
Beginning, Aidan actually pushes back and demands evidence, proof of what she's saying.
Yeah. Aidan demands evidence, proof of what she's saying. You know, like a journalist. Like, I don't just take somebody at their word for it. Thank you, Phelpsy.
Asks tough questions.
Yeah.
But you see, questioning Karen Reed on something she deems to be gospel is offensive to her.
What?
It unnerves her.
What?
A how dare you question me type of tone. A
What?
theme Turtle Boy himself will soon take.
What? That never happened. Never once did Karen Reed say, how dare you ever ask me questions? I'm Karen Reed. She knows she couldn't do that. If Karen Reed ever spoke to me like that, I'd be like, okay, fuck this bitch. Like, I would not associate. I'd be like, okay, well, she can go fuck herself. Go save yourself then. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, Karen Reed never once spoke to me like that ever.
One of the other obvious issues with Karen Reed and the various stories she's told is this.
Everybody else's fault. It's John's fault for being drunk. It's Peggy O'Keefe's fault for being mean to her that night.
Oh, this
It's
is
Jenna
Kerry
King's fault for
Llama.
answering the everything is everybody else's fault. It's
Kerry
never-
Llama.
The biggest thing to me as I began to consider all of the evidence and all of the trial testimony, along with the interviews I conducted myself, is how such a common charge became a high-profile story.
Ooh.
It wasn't a whodunit. It was, and I think too with her, unfortunately, obviously they never expected this to become what it is. I think they were being much too kind to her, letting her leave with Kerry to, go get John's parents. And of course, until the dad was like, nope, that's not happening.
Letting her leave with Kerry? What?
Unfortunately, obviously they never expected this to become what it is. I think they were being much too kind to her, letting her leave with Kerry to, go get John's parents. And of course, until the dad was like, nope, that's not happening. Section her, get her out of there. He doesn't want her talking to anybody, but they were being too kind to her, because she's screaming, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Crying. I mean, they're not thinking this is, murder. And you also have people in there who didn't know each other, right? You have the two girls, Sarah and Julie, who are there with Brian Albert Jr. They don't know Brian Higgins. They don't know what in God's name would they be doing covering for these people? I mean, one of the girls, she's an RN. She's a nurse. I mean, I'm a nurse. Like,
yeah, she is a nurse. That's what makes Sarah Levin so despicable, is that she is a nurse and she did nothing to save John O'Keefe's life. Horrible.
We're, caretakers by nature. And I think at one point, I will never forget, Aidan did a story and said that Sarah, who is the nurse, stepped over John O'Keefe's dying body. And I mean, he printed this about this.
Did I print that? Did I print that she was stepping over his dying body? Did I use that like figuratively? I don't know if she actually stepped over his dying body, but I know that she was inside a house where John O'Keefe was murdered and beat to death. So I have a hard time believing that she didn't know. Yeah, that happened. Did I actually say that? That sounds, I mean, I could, maybe it was a long time ago. I can't remember everything I said, but if you guys want, again, I'm sure the trolls, if I actually wrote that, they got that on receipt. So I don't know if she actually stepped over the body. I don't know that, but she was inside the house. I do know that. So there's that.
Young girl. And of course she got, I can't even tell you what happened to that poor girl, calls to work, the hospital she works at, emails, phone calls, people showing up at her job.
Emails, phone calls, people showing up at her job. Who showed up at Sarah Levinson's job? And Marie says, what is this lady's claim to fame? Why is she on the podcast? It's a great point. This allegedly award-winning podcast is literally finding all of his, talent from the comment section on Twitter. Like, that's what he's doing. People who agree with him. That's what he's looking for. People who don't like me. That's all he's looking for.
I can't even fathom why he would do things like that, or why he would think any of these people would lie.
She can't fathom why people would lie. Probably because they don't want to go to jail. Maybe. Why would any murderer lie? because they don't want to go to jail.
Brian Albert or Brian Higgins. You know, why Jen McCabe would lie for Brian, you know, even her brother-in-law. And
why she would lie for her brother-in-law? Because she loves him? Is that a real what?
Her life, her children's lives. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
That is
Yeah,
Albert and
to
McCabe
a
family friend,
retard.
Kerry Llama, who you have heard in previous episodes. Let's now get into the origin of this conspiracy. First, a few facts about conspiracies. Research shows 1 in 4 people will believe a conspiracy. Social media has created a space for feeling and being.
Again, 1 in 4 people will believe a conspiracy. Well, it's a lot more than that in this case. And I don't believe conspiracies normally. I hardly ever do. But this one isn't even a conspiracy. It's just the most likely thing that happened. Like, it's just what the evidence and the facts show is the most likely thing that happened to John O'Keefe. We again, that's why the ARCA experts are so important. They proved that Karen Reed didn't kill John O'Keefe. Science says that Karen Reed didn't do it, which means someone else did because he's dead. Okay? And he went inside the house because his Apple Health data shows him going up and down 3 flights of stairs. So someone in there did something to him. That's why we believe this is a conspiracy, because the facts show that it was.
Right. The truth becomes almost secondary and even beside the point to an intoxicating, intense feeling, a dopamine hit that comes from when you think you are right. Research also shows that grievances like those you see online in the Karen Reed case, right or wrong, real or perceived, can make people feel good. Turtle Boy came around in the Reed case and hit on all of this. In other words, feeding many of his followers what they were already primed to accept.
Oh, really?
The communication between Turtle Boy and Karen starts in late April 2023. And one of the first things Karen tells Turtle Boy through an intermediate is, make sure he, meaning Turtle Boy, does not quote me in any post or live stream. This info is being used for bigger bombshells. In another text, Karen writes, DA's cell and office phones were tapped. They've got them knowingly hiding exculpatory evidence. By they, Karen is referring to the FBI because.
Okay, so that's not proven. Karen believed that they were tapping her phone. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And that's why I never stated it as a fact, right? It is her belief that the phones are being tapped. Now, I wouldn't surprise me if they were tapped. They're the feds. They can do whatever the fuck they want. But go ahead. Now, talk about the FBI. What does he say about the FBI?
Now, this is not just some run-of-the-mill small-town conspiracy among law enforcement and 2 families in Canton. No. According to Karen Reed, it's so big, she is such an important figure that the feds are now involved. And
what a dishonest thing to say. She's such a big figure that the feds are now involved. No, it has nothing to do with Karen Reed. They don't give a fuck about Karen Reed. They're not doing this because of Karen Reed. They're doing this because of John O'Keefe, you dumb shit. They're doing this because clearly government institutions have conspired to cover up the murder of a Boston police officer to protect the people who murdered a Boston police officer. You fucking idiot. Like, if you had any sense, you'd ask yourself, gee, why is the FBI involved? M.William Phelps has figured it all out. He's actually smarter than the U.S. Attorney's Office. He's smarter than the FBI. You know, they're just wasting their time. If only they listened to this guy who's been following this story for all of 4 months and is basing his assessment of it purely on his dislike of me. He's way smarter than the FBI. He's got 45 leather-bound books to prove it. And he beat Rogan.
They are going to take everyone in Norfolk County down as if it is some sort of Martin Scorsese film. Because Karen Reed, and otherwise nobody like the rest of us, is just that important.
It has nothing to do with Karen Reed.
We don't have a lot of texts, or any text really, of all the people in that house discussing some sort of conspiracy or some sort of cover-up, right? I mean, it's just not there.
Right, and it doesn't seem to be for a lack of digging
by
the FBI, by the U.S. Attorney's Office. They very early on in this case got involved, and in November of 2022 already were subpoenaing Apple for pretty much everybody the defense team had named in the conspiracy. Now, we don't know exactly whether they got just the existence of communications or whether they got any content, but we do know
So we do know, yeah, you're right. There's no text message saying, oh, good thing, let's cover up this murder. Ha 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 ha. There's nothing like that. But there are text messages like, I don't know, tell them the guy never came in the house. 3 days later, why would you need to tell them? Why would you need to tell them that? The guy never came in the house. Who? Why would that's so incriminating? That one, tell them the guy never came in the house. Almost like you're getting your story straight. Now, tell him the guy never came in the house. Tell him. Wouldn't he be inclined to tell him that already if it was the truth? Why would you need to be reminded to tell someone? Tell him the guy never came in the house. The guy. Oh, yeah. What are they looking for out there? They're texting all about that? Or how about Phelps never brings up the 222 phone call between Brian Albert and Brian Higgins that lasted for 22 seconds. That never comes up. That seems a little bit relevant, because they both testified in front of the grand jury that they were sleeping at that time and they still have no explanation for it.
They revealed a lot of content from Michael Proctor's phone. So they definitely at least got some people's content. And they honestly didn't uncover anything that suggested a conspiracy. Nothing.
Such a valid point from Kevin Linehan.
Such a valid point from Kevin Linehan. That's all you need to know. And don't forget about the gift. They literally Julie Albert offered Michael Proctor a gift on the day that Karen Reed was arrested. Her son, who was inside the house, was never questioned by police and offered Michael Proctor a gift for that. And her family goes way back with Michael Proctor, but okay.
Who you've heard in previous episodes. Lead investigator Michael Proctor's texts wound up in court, part of Karen's trial, and yet there is nothing about a conspiracy. And what's more, if Karen's lawyers saw anything even remotely connected to a conspiracy, and what amounted to is what her lawyers claim, a 3,000-page report.
And there's also messages in the text messages in which Michael Proctor's buddy asks him, isn't the house owner going to take some shit? And he goes, no, he's a Boston cop. That's why he's not going to take some shit. Yeah, ordinarily you might take some shit, but not him. He's a Boston cop. So he's special. He's going to get special treatment as a result of that. Besides that, there's no evidence of a conspiracy. None.
The feds gave them. They would have not only used it, but leaked it to the media right away.
They did use it.
I asked Kevin for his opinion of Turtle Boy as a brand. How Turtle found himself in a position where it began to benefit him to keep a conspiracy story going as long as possible.
Benefit him?
And I can sympathize it with, so when you're doing a show and let's say now in his case, he's doing 2 shows a week, one private one, so say 3 shows a week, one for members. So 3 shows a week. You got to generate content, entertaining content for that. Now he came out with almost the entire theory to this case on day one because it was hand-fed to him by the defense team. Now what are you going to do? And so this is where he first starts calling up the witnesses and trying to bother them, because he was generating content for his channel. And then from that, he's like, well, let's just go into Canton and start stirring things up directly. And that leads to the rolling rally. What he didn't understand.
So going into Canton to stir things up. I actually went into Canton. I interviewed the IT director, Louis Jutras. I interviewed the DPW director, Michael Trotta, about his report that said that Fairview Road was not plowed that night until 3:30. That turned out to be untrue. And I wanted to know, did you lie or did Michael Proctor lie? Because Lucky Loughran plowed that road at 2:30, according to him. I went and did a test to see whether or not it was possible to reach 24 miles an hour in just 62 feet. I went into Canton for lots of reasons. Research, journalism, traditionally. I did a journalism. But apparently I was just going to stir up trouble, he says, and call these witnesses. I also called him because I had questions for him.
Understand was he thought the First Amendment protected you from all of this activity, but he forgot about the witness intimidation, which does not apply. The First Amendment does not apply to that.
Listen to what he said. The First Amendment does not apply to the witness intimidation. Au contraire, sir. State statutes do not overrule the Constitution to the United States of America. That is not how any of this works, sir. I don't understand if you understand separations of power or how the basis of our government is set up, but the Bill of Rights specifically and amendments specifically exist so that no state can make a law otherwise. Like slavery, for instance, Kevin, you might think, right? Well, what Alabama can just put slavery back, right, Kevin? They can just make a law making slavery legal, can't they? Right? Because that's the statute. So it doesn't matter what the Constitution and the 13th Amendment say, right? Because but the whole purpose of amendments, Plevin, is they are supposed to trump state laws. They're saying that states can't outlaw this. No state can make a law that outlaws free press and free speech. That's what we did. I mean, I understand that you don't understand how civics in our government work, Plevin, but this is how it works, sir. But go ahead.
Intimidation in a case.
We will get into the rolling rally and witness intimidation charges in the next episode.
Oh,
But
I
going
can't
back
wait.
to late April, early May. At one point, Karen texts Aidan and says that she doesn't know where John's body was at 2:27, the alleged Jennifer McCabe Google search time. Quote, I know that he was moved very close to the road where I would see him as soon as I called. So Karen is.
So this, again, in these messages, I thought that he was out there, that they put John out there at 12:30 when she left. That's what I thought they did. That was my initial belief, that they put him out there at 12:30. That didn't make any sense, though, because he would have died from hypothermia long before that. So he couldn't have been there at 12:30. And I didn't know about Lucky Loughran yet. When I wrote part 1, I did not know about the existence of a plow driver who drove by there and didn't see a body at 2:30. I had no idea. Karen Reed did. So she tried to, without saying, tell me that, yeah, the body's out there. The body wasn't put out there till later on, much closer to when I arrived. We don't know the exact time. So yeah, this is, I mean, but again, Phelps, you could have asked me about any of this, but he's not looking for the truth. He's not looking for the truth.
Suggesting, keep in mind that from wherever John's body was allegedly hidden inside the house, his killers relocated his body out onto the lawn, close to those 5 a.m. calls Karen makes. This frightens Turtle Boy. He senses she's bullshitting him. He tells her that the Google search now looks like a frame job on Karen's part, and that
I'm like, wait a minute, the Google job? I go, wait a minute, I was confused. Wait, the Google, if he's put out there later on, then why would they Google how long to die in cold at 2:27? And then it hit me. Oh, wait. She wants to know, like, I thought the body was out there at 12:30, and then the Google search happens for how long to die in cold, because they want to know how long it's going to take for him to die, right? But it applies the same way if he's put out there at 3:30, doesn't it? She's still going to want to know, because she knows the plan is to put his body out there. She left there knowing that, okay, we're going to put him out there. And so she's like, okay, how long do we have here? How long do we have? Like, that makes a lot of sense, but go ahead.
It, quote, completely invalidates the defense, and it's starting to make me worry about what I've now tied myself to.
Yeah, and what did I do? I mean, this is just such a joke that they're bringing this shit up. Yeah, it's starting to worry about what I tied myself to. And then point out the next text message where she brings receipts, dude. She does it every time.
Conversations continue. It's absolutely clear that Karen is sharing only certain documents and certain pages from within those documents, at times adding sketchy language, such as, if anyone asks, you got this from the medical examiner's office or law enforcement, etc.
Okay.
What stands out to me here is that, from my experience as an investigative journalist,
people
people fighting for their innocence, when they are trying to convince you they have been framed, they have no doubts about document dumps. Here it is, the entire case. Have a look at everything. I have nothing to hide.
She did. She gave me anything I needed that was legal to give me. Anything. Anything.
They do not cherry pick and hand things over piecemeal.
What was cherry pick?
Karen says, fuck Paul O'Keefe, John's brother, before dangling the federal probe like a carrot for Turtle Boy, trying to gain his trust back by suggesting that the feds are now investigating the investigation into John's death.
She's not suggesting that. They are, in fact, investigating the investigation. It's well known that that's what they're doing. It's out there. Like, that's what they're doing. What do you think they're investigating, dipshit? What do you think they're investigating? They're the feds. They investigate corruption.
So Turtle claps back and asks when federal charges are coming. Karen says that June 2023. June 2024 passes and it never happens. And as of the production of this episode, it still hasn't happened.
Oh, well, I guess it's never going to happen.
The communication between them stops in early May 2023 after Turtle Boy calls bullshit on Karen's entire story of a conspiracy and this alleged federal probe. He's not buying it.
What?
But they speak on the phone, and Turtle.
I buy it completely. I never. What? So now he's just making shit up. At no point did I ever stop believing in this. Ever. It shows that I'm like pushing back. We've been over this. I push back on her for more evidence. I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And every time she brought receipts, every single time.
Later tells law enforcement they make a deal. Many have suggested Turtle was paid, though there is no evidence of this I have seen. And it's not long after their alleged argument and subsequent deal that Aidan Turtle Boy Kearney comes out strong, never looking back, relentlessly promoting a cover-up and conspiracy while systematically, one by one, publishing articles and YouTube videos
So he's saying that like I doubted it. I stopped believing in it. And then Karen Reed and I had a phone call. And then I came back and believed it again. So she must have paid me off. I mean, this is a joke. This is supposed to be a podcast that's going to like look into the death of John O'Keefe and figure out all the facts. And it's all about me.
Destroying the reputation of any
Total
witness,
derangement
investigators or experts daring to challenge the Royal Queen of Canton.
The Royal
Karen
Queen.
Reed.
The Royal Queen.
Turtle Boy rents a 70s era raised ranch in Holden, Massachusetts. As I drove down Malden Street, heading to see him for the last time, I thought about some of the videos he has posted as part of his Karen Reed coverage.
Fuck me, Brian. Come on, let's go. I want to fuck right now. It's 2:30 in the morning. I don't care how drunk you are. Get your dick up and let's fucking go. Fuck me. Okay, sorry. Okay, so well, let me just check my phone over here. Okay, so then Nicole's gonna come, and I guess the phone here. Okay, so then he's gonna start off missionary. So he's, yeah.
Stop that right there. That's when I knew this was a joke. First of all, like, of course, the guy throws in there, like, describes the house, says the street. I mean, what a douche, you know? What a fucking douchebag. Who does that? Doxing. I don't want to hear any more cries about doxing after that shit. Because I'm Phelpsy. I don't have it right now. Tomorrow on Twitter, I'm posting your fucking address, bro, and your fucking phone number. Because you see what this is, right? This guy is out here subtly trying to put out where I live out there to try to send fucking nut jobs at me, right? And because I invited him into my fucking house, right? So yeah, I mean, he started it. So bro, you are getting your ass doxed tomorrow. I would normally not do this, but I fight on the battlefield that you play on. And if you want to start doxing and doing shit like that, I'm going to do the same to you. I'm literally going to post your fucking address and your phone number tomorrow on Twitter because you made me do this. You made me do this. Okay. I don't want to do this. I don't want to post your fucking address. I have no interest in that, but you did mine. So now I have to do it. You made me do this. So game on.
Fucking yeah. Okay, and then the phone is on Nicole's ass.
Oh my God.
Giving it to her. Good. Yeah, good. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, fucking.
I cannot believe they're playing the fucking Raggedy. Again, the purpose of this was to point out how, first of all, it's satire and comedy. I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's like I'm a bit of an entertainer and it's funny. And it's also mocking the idea of how absurd it is that you could answer the phone in the middle of sexual intercourse, which is something Brian Albert testified that he did. He testified that he did. So, okay.
Yeah, you like that? You saw me on Boston Confidential, didn't you? You like that, huh? You like that, huh? And then okay, so let's see if I could call Higgins here. Let's see what happens. Let's go. Dude, I can't even get to the passcode part. You like that? Oh, you're a naughty girl, aren't you? You're a naughty girl. You like that, huh? Huh? Yeah, but you fucking do. I can't even get to the passcode part. I can't even do it. So now we'll do role reverse. So then she's gonna ride me this time. This can't be the first one. So now she's gonna jump on me, and we're gonna go like this. So the phone's on the butt. Yeah, you like that? I'm in the gang unit. Yeah. I got bald head. I shave my head. You like that?
That excerpt from his show you just heard depicts Turtle Boy simulating sex with a rag doll in order to prove how calls between some of the people inside Fairview that night were later explained during trial testimony as butt dials. Walking up the path toward Turtle Boy's door, another murder victim, not John O'Keefe, was on my mind.
What was she like? Tell me about her. When you met her. What was she like?
Sandra was a very free spirit. Right. She was a very free spirit. However, she was very firm.
So now he's going to bring up the Sandra Birchmore thing. This is where it gets really fucked up. Okay. So I'm going to bring up here. I got to find this. I have to have this Turtle Club episode ready to rock because he lies about shit on here. He lies about what I said, misrepresents the things I'm saying. Let's see. All right. I'm ready to rock. All right.
In her free spirit. She
he talks about Sandra Birchmore and he interviews a friend of Sandra's. I'm going to fast forward to this part.
And stuff in dancing life, and as a whole, farms, and that's very
Heard a good friend of hers talk about was found hanging in her Stoughton, Massachusetts police officer, married with 3 kids, who had been abusing and raping Sandra since she was 14 years old, had been arrested and charged with her murder. On his YouTube show, after the arrest and details about the case began trickling out, Turtle Boy chimed in, focusing his observations on the ties that case has to Karen's, trying to show there was a conspiracy in Stoughton to cover up for the cop, Matthew Farwell, charged.
Again, I didn't have to show that. There was. They literally covered it up. John Fanning, Matthew Dunn, and Nicholas Guarino pretended that they couldn't find 32,000 text messages showing that this guy had groomed and raped this girl from a young age, and that he was clearly planning to murder her. Okay.
With Sandra's murder by some of the same Massachusetts State Police cops involved in Karen's case.
Welcome aboard, guys, to the sex cult, as we call it here. And Sandra Birchmore.
So this is not on YouTube. This is Sex Cult. This is a premium stream. So this guy's playing my premium stream content that you have to pay to hear on his fucking podcast. Okay.
The agency, like, I'm not going to act like, like a lot of people are like, well, she, nothing's like, Sandra Birchmore did choose to do these things, but she did have sex with these guys, right? They wanted to fuck her because they knew she was damaged. Because they knew that, because she's damaged mentally, she's easier. There's no challenge there.
He says, son.
Okay, so this is okay. So all of that is true. All of that is true. Matthew Farwell went after her because she was an easy target. The same way that Catholic priests went after boys who came from troubled backgrounds, not well-to-do kids. They didn't go after them because they have family support. So they went after kids with troubled backgrounds. Okay. That's what they did. And he went after Sandra Birchmore for that same reason, because he thought it would be, she was less likely to tell, quite frankly. She was less likely to tell. And he had sex with her for years. And what I'm talking about there, I'm talking about Billy Farwell and Robert Devine. They had sex with her after finding out that Matthew Farwell did, clearly. It was the talk of the station, probably. And they're like, oh, we can fuck her too. They viewed Sandra Birchmore as a plaything that they could all use to get their dicks wet. That's all they viewed her as. And it's tragic and it's horrible that they did this. Absolutely horrible that these monsters used this woman's body as something that they could use to get off with. Horrible. And if that offends you, fuck yourself. Like, and I mean that. And even Kirk Minhan texted me today. And said, so Kirk is the guy that kind of broke this all down, right? And he goes, he sent me a copy of my tweet that says, saying that Sandra Birchmore was damaged isn't offensive to any honest or decent person. It's quite literally the reason she was targeted in the first place. And it's horrible. There is nothing remotely controversial about this. Kirk texts me today and sends me a copy of that tweet. And he goes, people are really offended by this. See, Kirk agrees. Like, if you find offense to that, you're not being honest. You are not being honest, because nothing I said in that rant right there. Again, just listen to it.
Sandra
have sex with these guys. Case. Welcome aboard, guys, to the sex cult, as we call it here. And Sandra Birchmore has agency. Like, I'm not going to act like,
she has agency. That's as it pertains to Billy Farwell and Robert Devine, because she was an adult when that happened. She has agency.
A lot of people are like, well, she, nothing's like, Sandra Birchmore did choose to do these things, but she did have sex with these guys, right? They wanted to fuck her because they knew she was damaged. Because they knew that, like, because she's damaged mentally, she's easier. There's no challenge there.
That's exactly what they did. They went after her because they knew that she was emotionally scarred, okay? That she was vulnerable, that she was damaged. Whatever word you want to use to describe it, that's what she was, okay? What does agency mean? It means that when it came to Billy Farwell and Robert Devine, that's not rape. What happened to her with them was not rape. She was able to consent. Sandra Birchmore, a lot of people painted her as somebody that they treated her like she's retarded. And that's what I took offense to. These people were like, that no, Sandra was choosing to have sex with these guys, right? Matthew Farwell, when she was 15, is a completely different thing. Having sex with Matthew Farwell when she's 15 is rape. She's not old enough to consent. When she's 22 and she's sleeping with Billy Farwell, it's not the same. It's not the same thing as her when she was 15 having sex with Matthew Farwell. That's why Matthew Farwell's in jail and Billy Farwell isn't. I don't know what's controversial to point this out. Like it's just a fact. But go ahead.
He says Sandra, 14 years old at the time, a child, chose to have sex with Matthew Farwell. Who was
That's a lie. That's libelous right there. What he just said right there is pure slander. I never once said, ever.
Her
because she's damaged mentally, she's easier. There's no challenge there.
This is a lie.
He says Sandra, 14 years old at the time, a child, chose to have sex with Matthew Farwell.
He says Sandra chose to have sex with Matthew Farwell when she was 14. I never, ever said that. And he came over my house on the final day of taping, whatever. And he's like, can you take that down? And I'm like, first of all, I can't. It's Krusty Panties made a video, like a hit piece video, from my Turtle Club of, excerpts from my show that were designed to make me look bad. She was making it seem like I was saying that about Matthew Farwell. I wasn't. I was saying that about Billy Farwell, which is a completely different form of sex. One is consensual. The other is rape. It's a very different thing. And so he's just lying. And Phelps, of course, hasn't listened to this because it's behind a paywall. He hasn't listened to it. If he wanted to, he could have heard it. I don't know
how you're going to be there for both of us.
Again.
Officers showed up. They found her body. Mock reviewed the autopsy on November 13th. Knew that Farwell was leaving work to have sex with her, going to raw dog it in order to have our blackmail baby together.
Yeah, I called it.
What? Fuck! This is a craziest story. Text. So back to this.
I don't even know where it held actually. Oh, I can do the speed. I didn't know that.
Approximately 1 week after Farwell agreed to have unprotected sex in order to conceive a child, the Birchmore had a disagreement about the terms of the agreement. The following is who fucked her though, what she's doing is kind of fucked up. The blackmail baby thing, that's fucked up. Let's be honest. But he still fucked her. Let's not forget how she got this way, dude. Like you knew she's not normal and you preyed on her anyway because she got you off and that's all she was to you. And you played with
that's what he did. He preyed on her.
Fire and you got burnt. Birchmore again threatened to. So she knows.
Anyway, I don't have time to listen to 2 hours of this shit. But just know that he's lying. I was not that clip right there. I was talking about Billy Farwell. And again, that is straight up slanderous because he doesn't say it like, listen what he says.
Because she's damaged mentally, she's easier. There's no challenge there.
He says Sandra, 14 years old at the time, a child, chose to have sex with Matthew Farwell, who was her.
Never said that. Never ever said that.
Mentor in a law enforcement police explorers program Sandra was a part of in Stoughton. Let's be clear. Matthew Farwell, a cop, groomed Sandra Birchmore and raped her.
That's what I said.
He coercively controlled her. Period. There was no choice on Sandra's part.
Agreed. Yeah, there was no choice as it pertains to Matthew Farwell when she was a child. That's rape. You can't choose to do that. I was talking about Billy Farwell and Robert Devine, but go ahead.
As I knocked on his door, I could feel this rage bubbling up. For one, the way Turtle Boy spoke in that Birchmore video, as if he was a psychologist, is irresponsible, arrogant, and frankly, disgusting and offensive. Here he is, in fact, laughing at what Sandra Birchmore wrote in the days before her murder.
It almost sounds like she's, it was April. It's not a day I'll ever forget. It was April 10th, 2013. It's like, I'd be like, are you wearing a wire? Like, that's suspicious. Like, it's not a date I'll forever get. April 10th, 2013. She puts it in writing. And this is the other thing that makes it sound like, bro, are you wearing a wire? Like, I was scared to say no. It's just like, that's the exact type of thing that you write and put in writing on the record if you wanted to get him busted for rape. It's just like, and this guy doesn't pick up.
Then he goes.
So I forget the context, but again, he doesn't give a fuck about context. It's 2 hours worth of tape that he's taken here. And I believe what I was saying there was that Sandra said something about in the text messages about that. I'm like, wait, on April 10th, Sandra said something on April 10th. Actually, let's just go fucking find it. Let's prove this motherfucker wrong. I was saying Farwell's an idiot. That's what I was saying here. But again, this dude doesn't care about facts. Let's see. Oh,
Accordingly, Farwell's misconduct was also part of a scheme to obtain wages from the Stone Police Department through false statements. Farwell's text messages indicate he had sex with her while he was on duty. Text messages between them indicate that on multiple occasions Farwell left work during his death. How did she get to there? In November, she learned that she wasn't pregnant. Yeah, so he's just getting increasingly physical here. I have reviewed records from Walmart that suggest Birchmore did in fact pay $2 that were key viewed crime scene photographs that depict and in the dryer. You stay far away from them because they're fucking stupid. Like, stupid people can hurt you. Like, I don't want to be around stupid people like that. They're dangerous, these stupid people. An enforcement agency in the town where Birchmore lived on November 13th, they discussed children and stick with it. I'm feeling that tomorrow. More include Farwell's repeated demand, and I saw the shit like, bro, it's a meme, you know? It's not that convincing. The other shit. New in the Twitter world. Well, that's all. Besides phone shit. Like, look at this indictment. It's so anyway, read and retrieve deleted messages. He just didn't want to because detective. And he met Sandra Birchmore when she was 12, I believe, when she was in this program. So she wanted, because these are very disturbed, confirmed that they frequently communicated with Birchmore for years. They also indicated that he had sex with her when she was a minor. So what do they mean by investigators? Law enforcement agents. Does that mean state police were aware of this, that he fucked a minor? Or are they talking about the FBI? I think that's an important distinction to make. Data from Birchmore's Facebook reveals that at the beginning of their set him up. Like, it almost sounds like she's, it was April.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Such a big day because he wasn't.
How about this? Oh, this is the part he's playing right here. Okay. So look at, I don't know if you guys can read this. Check this out. It says in the text messages here on February 11th, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell discussed the exact day that Farwell took the 15-year-old's virginity. So she's also 15, it's still legal, but get your facts straight. 15 is not the same as 14, douchebag. It says, Birchmore says, I had butterflies so bad the day you took my virginity. And Farwell says, me too, it was such a big day. Birchmore says, I still know the date to this day. And he goes, really? And she goes, yes. And he smiles. And then she says, that's not a date that I'll ever forget. It was April 10th, 2013. Okay. And when I saw those messages, I was saying, if I was Matthew Farwell in this, I would be suspicious of those messages because I would be like, wait a minute. It's like she's like saying like, oh, I remember the exact, that's the kind of shit you'd say if you were wearing a wire, if you were trying to set someone up. Remember when you took my virginity on April 10th, 2013, when I was 15 years old? Do you remember that? And I'm pointing out in this audio clip that you're about to hear that Farwell probably should have been suspicious based on that. Like, that was like, Farwell is an idiot for not realizing that whole, like, it sounded like she was trying to get him to admit that he statutory raped her, right? Like, that's the way I think a lot of people read that and they're like, wait a minute. It's just so obvious that maybe she wasn't. I don't know. But to me, Farwell should have realized at this point, like, bro, she's getting you to put in writing that you raped her. Like, that, what are you fucking idiot? Like, what a fucking idiot. That was my whole point to this. Now let's see what I say here.
You took my virginity. So she's an adult when she's saying this, but she's talking about when she was a kid and he took her virginity. Me too. It was such a big day. What? Ooh, that's so creepy. Such a big day because he wasn't a virgin when this happened for him. Still know the date to this day. Really? Yes. And he does oh my God. That's not a date I'll ever forget. This is just like, this sounds like the fact that she said it like that. It almost sounds like she's setting him up. Like, it almost sounds like she's, it was April. It's not a day I'll ever forget. It was April 10th, 2013. It's like, I'd be like, are you wearing a wire? Like, that's suspicious. Don't you guys think, am I alone in this world? If you're Matthew Farwell in this situation and you see that and you're like, are you working with the feds? Like, it's not a date I'll forever get. April 10th, 2013. She like puts it in writing. I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of,
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope she was setting him up. If she was, good for her. Good job, Sandra. You did it. You helped get this fucking pervert in jail. You did. If that was her plan, bravo. Good job. But this is not, notice that's not how Phelps is presenting it. Listen to the way he presents it. He's just a liar.
Goes on to diagnose.
I was scared to say no. It's like that's the exact type of thing that you write and put in writing on the record if you wanted to get him busted for rape. You know, it's just like, and this guy doesn't pick up.
Then he goes on to diagnose.
And this guy doesn't pick up on it. That was the whole point. You liar. What a liar.
No, Sandra. Talking about how he decides, without knowing anything about this girl, that she harbors certain fantasies, even taking it as far as to suggest a 14-year-old girl groomed, raped, and impregnated by a police officer is simply giving the guy what he wants, referring to her as an adult when she writes about what happened to her as a child.
Gives him what he wants. And what he wants is to live out his fantasies of fucking kids and just being nasty, right? Because he's a nasty guy. And his wife, I don't know what their sex life is like, but maybe she's just not nasty. And this guy's into nasty shit, filthy shit. No judgment. I can't, like, some women, Birchmore is an adult when she writes these things. For all we know, Sandra Birchmore's, like, they might have this fantasy with rape, right? Because Sandra Birchmore's a damaged girl. So this is a weird topic, I know. It's a weird thing to talk about, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? There's some people out there, and somebody, I bet you one person, there's probably a couple of you out there watching this right now. You're like, this is a sex cult, okay? So we can talk about these things here.
This
If
is
it
a
is, no
sex
judgment.
cult.
So now she's a damaged girl with rape fantasies. Look.
I never said that Sandra Birchmore had rape fantasies. That never happened. I was reading their text messages in which they discuss rape fantasies, in which he clearly has the rape fantasies and she just goes along with it because she's damaged, because she will do whatever she can to please this guy who raped her at a young age and has coercive control over her into her adult years. Okay? That's what happened. And he's clearly into it because he's a deviant. He's clearly into this. Now, I also made the point that some non-deviants, some non-pedophiles, some consensual adults also do the rape fantasy shit. Not me. Not me. I'm not into it. I've been propositioned for it before. I'm not going to lie. I'll just say it. I've had somebody offer that said they want me to put a gun to their head during sex. And I'm like, nope, I ain't that guy. You got to be like, nope. Now, some people are into that shit. I'm not. Some women are into it. Some guys are into it. And it's like 10% of the population. And when they find each other, they do some nasty, kinky shit. That's none of my business because it's behind closed doors. That's not my business if they're doing some nasty, kinky shit. But homie, don't play that. I don't do that. No judgment if you do. Okay? But I swear to God, and I got the receipts for it. Yeah, Janice on The Sopranos and Ralphie. That's what they did. That's a good point. I've been, and I see all the people out there. Oh my God, whoa. Yeah, it's a thing. And and you just have to, if you're not into it, she was just throwing it out there. You know what I mean? In her defense, she was just throwing it out there. Let's see if this guy's into some nasty shit, And there's a certain lines I won't cross. I won't put the gun to your head, even if it's not loaded. I'm not doing that. No. I don't do the handcuffs. That's not me. I'm not into that. Okay. Some people are. No, it wasn't Genduso. As far as she was into fingers and assholes. Okay. That's not my thing. And she tried it once and I'm like, nope, immediately shut that shit down. That will not be happening. That is not happening. Okay. We're not doing that. All right. But she's like, well, the last guy I was with was real into it. And she's like, he used to send me videos jerking off and sticking a finger up his ass. And I'm like, well, good for him. That is not going to be us. Homie, don't play that. Okay. I don't do the guns to the head and I don't do the fingers in the asshole. And she knows it's true. And I'm not going to say the name of the guy. He is a state trooper. Okay. He happens to be a state trooper. He's into that shit. He was the guy before me who wouldn't leave his wife and kids for her because that was her thing. And, you know, he was into fingers in buttholes. Okay. His own butthole. And I'd never done that before. And I'm not going to do that. Okay. And I understand that that's the kind of thing, like that's how, when you go, I think that makes you come, right? Like that's the thing. Like if you want to, I think don't doctors do that to animals? They stick a fucking thing in their asshole and it makes them come, right? So I understand that's a thing and it makes guys come. That's why I don't want to do it. I don't want to like it. I don't want to stick things in my asshole. I don't want to. What if I like it? I don't want to fucking do that. That's nasty. It's like heroin. Heroin looks like a great time too. Everyone who's on heroin seems to enjoy it. I don't want to do it. I'm not into that shit. So I'm not into the guns. I'm not into the rape fantasies, and I'm not into fingers and assholes. I'm not doing it. But if you are, no judgment. Okay. I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh man, you're a fucking weirdo. No, if you're into that, then you're into that. I don't give a fuck. I'm not into judging other people. That's not what I do. So I forget what this has to do with Phelps here, but hold on.
And for all we know, Sandra Birchmore's like, they might have this fantasy with rape, right? Because Sandra Birchmore's a damaged girl. So yeah, this is a weird topic. I know it's a weird thing to talk about, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? There's some people out there, and somebody, I bet you one person, there's probably a couple of you out there watching this right now. You're like, this is a sex cult, okay? So we can talk about these things here. If it is, no judgment.
So now she's a damaged girl with rape fantasies. Look, I am not going to go through this entire.
She's a damaged girl with rape fantasies. He's the one with the rape fantasies, and she's just going along with it to fucking please him. Like that's what I said.
I tried, but it's important to show the type of content Turtle Boy puts out into the world. Those things he said about Sandra, the way in which he blames her, upset me. I explained to him before this, as someone who has lost a pregnant family member.
Oh, here he is.
That I found the entire video offensive and vulgar. So the murder of a pregnant woman in Stoughton, to say the least.
So I told him, I'm like, dude, it's all taken out of context. And I'm like, this woman's been doing this. It's this woman, Krusty Panties. She's been doing this for years. And he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, it's just not. He's like, oh, okay. So now he's acting like he was like a hard ass with me in here. It's like, that's not how it went down at all. He briefly asked me about it. He asked me to take it down. I'm like, I can't take it down. It's a Krusty Panties put it up. It's on the internet now. I can't, I don't control her channel. I can't do that, you know? So there's that.
Figured some feelings from me. And then to hear this guy place the blame and say the things he said. I asked.
By the way, and this is, it says true libertarian. Poor Sandra was damaged trying to gain some power back. I do think there's some truth to that. I think that Sandra, as she got older, is like, I'm going to take some power back. That's why she had the baby. She's like, fuck you then. You're going to give me the baby. You know, I'm taking power. Like and I called it a blackmail baby because it was fucking, it's undeniable that was blackmail. She's like, you're going to give me a baby or I'm going to tell the world and your bosses and the police that you raped me. So his choice was go to jail for raping a minor or give her a baby. That's called blackmail. It's not the typical kind of blackmail you see, and that's what made the story so wild.
That video down, sharing with him how offensive to Sandra's family and to me it is, as I am sure a lot of other people. He looked at me like, how dare you challenge me?
Before
saying,
challenge
no
me?
way, never.
Never? I go, I can't take it. That's not what I said. I go, how can I take down content that's not on my channel, dude? I don't think you understand. He's like, can you take that video down? I'm like, Boomer, do you know how the internet works? I can't make Krusty Panties take a video down. I can't do it.
Through the summer of 2023, utilizing her relationship with Turtle Boy, Karen ramps up the conspiracy narrative, and Turtle Boy begins attacking witnesses personally, on top of their stories from that night John O'Keefe was murdered. As he does this, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office is seething with frustration and juggling pressure from the families and witnesses. And with that, District Attorney Michael Morrissey does something incredibly unprecedented and unheard of. He records a video in his office and releases it on YouTube.
This will be the first statement of its kind in my 10 years as Norfolk District Attorney. The harassment of witnesses and the murder prosecution of Karen Reed is absolutely baseless. It should be an outrage to any decent person, and it needs to stop. Innuendo is not evidence. False narratives are not evidence. However, what evidence does show is that John O'Keefe never entered the home at 34 Fairview Road in Canton the night he died.
Yeah, we heard all this.
0 people have said that they saw him. Testimony from witnesses tell us the president when Reed's vehicle and John O'Keefe arrived that night.
We've heard all this.
I think you might agree that the opposite of that observation becomes true.
They are not suspects in any crime.
When we begin to see ourselves in every stranger's eyes, we evolve, grow. And as we get into the social media side of Karen's case, I think you might agree that the opposite of that observation becomes true. Because once the attack on anyone standing up for a truth that does not support Karen Reed begins, it does not stop. In fact, Turtle Boy kicks it all up several notches.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is John Jackson. I apologize. You sent me a couple texts. I haven't gotten back to it.
Oh my God. In the audio, John Jackson, the idiot who went on Greg Hill's show for 20 minutes and attempted to explain how he knew Karen Reed was guilty and made a fool of himself because he couldn't explain anything. Now that he's realized that Phelps is on his side, they're all contacting him. Like, let me go on the podcast. I want to be heard too. And his audio sucks. It's so bad, yet he played this anyway. So just bear with me through this nonsense.
I finally found out a few minutes here to say hello, introduce myself by voice. And,
It was difficult to get John O'Keefe's family and friends to trust that my intentions were to tell a true story based in reality. I worked hard on this aspect of the podcast because before anything else, I am a victim's advocate and have been for 20 plus years. So I need to tell the victim's story. It is so important within the true crime space to do that work the best you can. John O'Keefe's family and friends, beyond losing him, have been put through more emotional turmoil and damage
poor
than anything
poor
I
John
have ever
Jackson.
seen.
Poor John
And so
Jackson.
that fear alone made it difficult for them to speak as well. For a lot of people, actually. The backlash and personal attacks.
And again, I'm not hearing like, oh, he's taking this whole, the O'Keefes are being attacked. All these other people are being attacked. He's not pointing out how people on our side are constantly being attacked. Literally. I mean, he keeps talking about people having pizzas delivered to their house. My show has been interrupted more times than I can count by pizzas being delivered to my house. It happens all the time. Like what? People have been doxxed, harassed, threatened. Lizzie Proctor called up people's jobs and tried to have them fired. What? I went to fucking jail for something I didn't do. And I'm supposed to feel bad for John Jackson? Okay.
We're just not worth it, which in effect is the definition of intimidation.
Now, like her uncle was killed, and now the McCabe's are taking over her life. And for all the people,
what's the definition?
What the
bitch ever seen? And so that fear alone made it difficult for them to speak as well. For a lot of people, actually, the backlash and personal attacks were just not worth it, which in effect is the definition of intimidation.
No,
so Jennifer McCabe isn't talking to him because she's intimidated. No, dude, because Kevin Reddington wouldn't let her talk to you. That's why. Because she's going because she can't face tough questions.
Her uncle was killed, and now the McCabe's are taking over her life. And for all the people about all the O'Keefes, what the fuck is wrong with Peggy O'Keefe? Oh, she's fucking old. You're being mean to the mother. Well, fuck her too. Okay, fuck her too for allowing this. By the way, Peggy O'Keefe, in case you haven't fucking read anything. Because I know you're old and you have to be nice to fucking old people, especially when their fucking kids died and we have to fucking play all nice with you and shit. Well, I'm not going to be fucking nice anymore. That woman escorting your granddaughter to fucking, she killed your son. She fucking killed him. Open your fucking eyes. And yeah, Paul, talk about your mama. What you going to do about it? You fucking drunk. You fucking raging alcoholic.
He is.
Crashing into people and shit and having the nerve to hate Karen Reed.
Yeah, by the way, did he ever address what I was talking about there about crashing into people? Yeah, Paul O'Keefe almost killed a man in 2020, right? Driving drunk. Yeah, Karen Reed bailed him out of jail. His drunk ass out of jail. I don't know if you know that, Phelps. I know you're just looking for facts. And yeah, that stuff is a little harsh. But yeah, she's hanging around with Jennifer McCabe and allowing Jennifer McCabe, who helped murder her son, be around her kids, John's kids. That's disgusting. So what you hear from me right there is outrage, anger. Because I'm pissed off about it. It's disgusting, as any decent person would be disgusted. And also, Peggy O'Keefe sucks. There's that. Peggy O'Keefe brought Lindsay Gattani with her, the fake victim, to court to have me ejected from her own son's murder hearing because she considers her son's murder hearings a circus in which she can just bring random whores with her because that's what the fake victim is. She's just some whore, okay, and bring her to court because she could kick me out because John O'Keefe's murder hearings are a joke to Peggy O'Keefe. Yeah. So that frustrated me and pissed me off. And I said all this shit. And I apologize for absolutely nothing. I don't care if these bad faith actors want to use these and be like, oh, look how mean he is. I don't give a shit what any of these people say. Nothing. Because we all know the truth. We all know the truth, don't we?
For fucking driving drunk? Jesus fucking Christ. Fuck those people, man. Fuck them. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't.
But we're going to fight for John because you don't give a fuck about John.
Yeah, we are.
You don't give a fuck about John.
We are going to
None
fight
of you
for
people
John.
do.
They don't.
But we're going to fight for justice for him anyway. I'm so sick of the coddling with you.
By that woman you heard Turtle Boy say in that previous clip from his show, he is referring to, no surprise, Jennifer McCabe. And Karen, I need to mention, has never stood up for John or apologized to his family for the absolute chaos this conspiracy story has caused. In fact, as you have...
She has never apologized for the damage this has caused? Are you fucking kidding me? She thinks Karen Reed should apologize to the O'Keefes? Are you kidding me? The people who sit in court and bring to court with them the people who murdered their son and who relish in her pain and misery. And she's supposed to apologize to them? Okay.
I've heard Karen has blamed John in a roundabout way for being drunk.
As they call me a rapist. I know exactly.
John Jackson, who grew up in the town next to John and went to college with him, decided to talk to me.
We were at a Super Bowl party at his parents' house, and he went to the bathroom, and there was a bunch of Paul's friends, Johnny's friends, and Kristen.
Again, this is this guy's story. John Jackson is incapable of explaining how Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe. He's incapable of it. All he can do is say, oh, Johnny, let me tell you a story about Johnny from 20 years ago. Oh, yeah, Johnny loves cars. Like, this is all this guy does. He's the least interesting and informative person ever. Ever. Like, all of the people that speak on behalf of the Commonwealth, they're not speaking on behalf of John. They're speaking on behalf of the Commonwealth. They always use the same playbook. None of them ever talk about the facts of the case. They just talk about, oh, John, let me tell you a story about Johnny, a great guy. Oh, yeah, great guy. Oh, yeah.
Kristen's friends all just hanging around in his parents' kitchen. And at one point, Kristen says, hey, watch this. She goes over to the microwave in the kitchen. She just hits a button so the clock isn't showing, right? And she says, we'll see how long it takes him to figure it out, And we're all just standing around having a beer, whatever. He keeps walking in the room. He has this stride to him. He has this walk to him, super confident walk, right? Just like, so he was in college at the time. So he goes walking in the room, doesn't break a stride, walks right over the microwave, just hits the button, doesn't say anything, just sees it do boop, and the room erupts. They're all laughing. And it was just kind of one of those things that he and his sister had that sort of banter back and forth. It was cool. It was very cool. They were very close.
Lots of people have said the same things about John O'Keefe. Everyone loved him. Everyone respected him. And he was a guy who just made you feel good about yourself. He cared about people. He helped people. Being that John and Karen hooked up during COVID, not many in John's circle really got to know her that well.
I've never actually met Karen.
I've never met Karen.
Nobody really saw them out,
COVID didn't, it was 2022 when John died. You could have met her, but you weren't that close with him. Let's be honest, John, you weren't that close with him, or you would have met his live-in girlfriend. You probably would have met her. How come you didn't? Did you ever volunteer to babysit the kids, John Jackson? Did that ever happen? Did you ever do anything like that? Did you ever volunteer to give him a ride someplace? Or because John's real busy, right? Oh, wait. So no, Karen did all that. Right. Karen did all that. You didn't do shit, but you're here with the sad music talk. You're looking for attention. You like attention, don't you, John? Don't you?
Oh, I mean, other than a small little, everybody's in lockdown. So I'd say when things started loosening up a little bit, I mean, when I talked to him, it wasn't, it was, at first it was great. It was fine. Things were going fine. And then, years later, or a year and a half later, it had enough, It's just the small things would wear on him a little bit. And then he wouldn't say anything, kind of get bigger and bigger. And then, so, I mean, I didn't realize the extent it was. A lot of the stuff I heard for the first time put out in trial too. So,
what stuff?
Not super surprised at some of the stuff.
What several people I spoke to, including Turtle Boy, have pointed out is that this former girlfriend of John's lived around the corner from 34 Fairview. And the fact that when Jennifer McCabe referenced the location of 34 Fairview as being close to that former girlfriend's house, and Karen heard this in the car that night as they drove over to Fairview, it set off an argument. Hence, one of Karen's voicemails that night. You put that together with John telling Karen the relationship was toxic.
Wait, it set off an argument? So what evidence is there that John and Karen argued about Ashley Bella? What's her name? Ashley Bella? What the fuck is her name? Bella's mom. Ashley Brady, that one. the one he stuck it to before Karen, right? And and then she went back to her cuck husband. So he's saying that they fought about Ashley Brady on the way to 34 Fairview Road. What evidence is there of that? There's only two people in the car, John and Karen. John's dead, so he would never testify to that. Karen's never said that. So where's Mr. Follow the Facts getting his facts from?
And that he was done. Coupled with the rage we heard in those voicemails, it's not such a big leap to say she was pissed that night and they likely had a huge blowout just before John stepped out of Karen.
Why is it likely of that? Why?
And of course, you have to sort of incorporate the intoxication level at the time.
And by the way, if they had a huge blowout, why wouldn't she just fucking leave? She'd be like, get the fuck out of my car. I'm out of here. Instead, she waited there for 10 minutes. She was so mad she waited there for 10 minutes. I'd be like, all right, see ya, bitch. I'm out. I'm going back to Mansfield. See ya. Instead, she did the opposite.
Right. So as mad as she could have been just generally sober, it's magnified, right? So that sort of irrational, or how you might not want to say irrational, but I would say intoxicated sort of ratchets up the level of extreme and the hate and the anger and the sort of response. So when you hit the gas in reverse, whatever your intent is, right? Whatever your intent is at that time, like a scam or like, but I can't believe she wanted to hit him, right? When you talk about that state of mind,
this guy just talks in circles and never goes anywhere, ever. He can't make a fucking point. He doesn't bring up any evidence. It's just like, oh.
I think at that moment, when she hit the gas pedal in reverse, that's your state of mind at the time. State of mind isn't blackout drunk. I don't know what I'm doing. That's different. That's different. I don't think she knew she killed him. I think she knew she hit him. She knew she clipped him. She said so much. I clipped him. I may have clipped him or I clipped him. So she knew she hit him. And that coupled with.
She never said I may have clipped him. That's not what she said. That's not what the text message just said. But go ahead.
Her state of mind at the time, knowing that she clipped him, deciding, I would say, making decisions based on self-preservation instead of preserving the life of Johnny.
John Jackson has strong feelings about the alleged
Brian. Everything he just said is his own speculation. Like literally nothing he just said is backed by any sort of facts or anything like that.
Colin Albert conspiracy.
The other conspiracy to me would be that Colin Albert or whatever, or these townies who didn't really know Johnny but kind of knew Johnny, they wanted to kill him. All right, now this is the meat and potatoes, because this is kind of where the defense went and tried to show, hey, they tried to split them up the waterfall. This is pre-planned. Like they pre-planned to kill Johnny, and they did it on a night where his son is having a party at his house with all these.
It has never once been alleged by the prosecution or by the defense or me that the plan was to murder John O'Keefe. Ever. I've literally said the opposite more times than I can count. That I don't think the plan was to kill him. Because that doesn't make much sense, does it? That the plan was to kill him. I don't even think the plan was to beat the shit out of him. Some people think that. I think they invited him over there and they got into an argument. It's just that fucking simple. They got in an argument. People argue. People fight. A fight broke out. Went too far. Something bad happened. Somebody hit him in the back of the head with something, or he fell back and hit his head on something. I don't know. Causing a gash in his head. And it just was the right angle, and he starts convulsing, and this puke, he starts puking all over him. So that's what I think happened. That's the most logical thing that happened. The evidence certainly backs that up. Never once have we suggested this. So this is just a straw man.
He's random people. So we're gonna lure him back to this house full of people because this is our opportunity. He's drunk. He's getting. Let's put him up in camera. We'll kill him. And then, I mean, it's so incredulous that they wouldn't have another the end plan of this. Like, what are we gonna do with the body afterwards? Like, if that conspiracy happens, they pre-planned it. What are you gonna do with his body once you kill him? We're gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna blame it on Karen, who just happened to hit him with a tail, break her tail light.
Yeah, there was no pre-plan to kill him, but they have a body in the house, so they need to do something about it. Can't chop him up. Can't throw him up behind the railroad tracks. You know why you can't throw him on the railroad tracks? Because Karen Reed doesn't drive a train. So you can't blame her for that one. So they really did the only thing they could do. Put him right back where they last saw Karen Reed and pray to God that, that she doesn't think the worst about us, which she didn't until later on.
It irritates the shit out of me that people believe this hook, line, and sinker without doing any constructive thinking or any rational analysis as to, like, what would it actually take for this conspiracy to actually happen, to exist? Right? You've got all this, and you've got to really suspend reality. Problem is, you've got two very experienced attorneys, one very polished, one not so much. But they had to.
No, not so much.
Right? They had to sort of. There's ethics involved in this, and defense attorneys, whatever, they push the boundaries, whatever, right? And you understand it.
There is no shortage of those
Like, again, this guy says so much without saying anything.
who believe that Karen's defense team knows exactly what they are doing in order to create reasonable doubt and get one juror to buy into the conspiracy.
But we went to just about every, I mean, we worked too, so we went to just about every motion, pre-trial, all the stuff that happened, right? The very first, it was in district court before they moved it up to superior. Yannetti introduced into the court, into the record, I guess I would say, a picture of Johnny and Karen, like this happy, lovey-dovey couple. He puts it, and why does he do that? I mean, I know it. I knew what he was doing when he was doing it. He wanted the news stations to be able to run. Right? So that's right on that. I find it to be disgusting. It's not morally or ethically.
He finds it disgusting that he put into evidence a picture of John and Karen together looking happy. Okay.
Out of bounds, I guess, for a defense attorney. But I find it personally like, look, this is not where you want to go yet, right? But his point at that time was, look, she loved him. It was an accident. There was no intent. It was, nothing was supposed to happen. So look, and trying to like leverage himself into a good plea at that moment. And he was calling all these local small time YouTubers and local, trying to get Alan Jackson specifically spoke with them. I know that for certain. So
see, he was calling local small town YouTubers. Alan Jackson was trying to get them to do what? So he called up me and BLT and Mike Crawford and the Glare and Melanie Little and the rest of them. And we're like, hey, push propaganda for us. And we're like, fuck yeah. Can we sell merch? Oh yeah, definitely. Let's go. Sign me up then. I'm in. What?
So behind the scenes, this stuff is happening. What are they doing? They're creating the story that's going to become this conspiracy. How incredibly, nearly impossible that is. Right?
Impossible.
But the story's going to take shape and get legs because
no, what we believe is not impossible. It's actually very possible. What's impossible is the conspiracy theory that Karen got mad and ran John over with her car because the ARCA experts say that that's physically and scientifically impossible, that couldn't have happened. His injuries couldn't have come from motor vehicle collision, especially the whole getting clipped with the arm thing. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. They explained why that's impossible. So we're not the conspiracy theorists, my dude. You are.
One of the motion hearings, they held up a big board, like a backboard, with Johnny's autopsy photos of his arm, right? All scratched up, right? And they do this in pretrial, and they do it in a motion. And why do they do that? They do that again, so it's public record. The way I see it, they get on ahead of the story, and they start saying about all the dog scratches and the dog bites on the arm or whatever, right? Which, I mean, you don't see the bottom teeth. Like, it just doesn't. Whatever. Anyway.
You don't see the bottom teeth. Whatever. Like this guy's the worst speaker ever. Yeah, God forbid we show the autopsy photos because it might make people realize that, wait a minute, those don't look like something that came from a vehicle collision.
And what they're doing is they're influencing the public and they're creating a story so that by the time it goes to trial, people have already made up their goddamn mind. I have neighbors who didn't realize. People I know, people I work, didn't realize how close I was to the situation. Talking to me about it. The dog. Like, do you really believe this?
Yes.
Really believe this?
Yes.
So I've said this from the beginning. If you've made up your mind, whatever it is, if you believe those are dog bites because some goddamn defense attorney told, who believes defense attorneys when they open their mouths? But people chose to believe defense attorneys telling them this story saying, hey, this is really what happened.
John Hart.
I believe those are dog bites because they look like dog bites. And Garrett Wing, who is an expert at dog bites, did a whole interview with Melanie Little where he explained why those are clearly 100% dog bites. And Dr. Marie Russell and Dr. Frank Sheridan both testified that those are consistent with dog bites. Right.
Harkens back to a point I made earlier in the episode that all you have to do is make people believe there is a conspiracy and never even prove it in the end, and you've won. I asked John Jackson about Turtle Boy.
I don't talk about Turtle Boy in general. Well, I mean, this is their tactic of character assassination, right? So what they do is, not even just him. If you speak out in favor, one of my best friends ever. I didn't choose this. Like, this situation was given to us.
This guy he can't fucking talk. I've never heard somebody just go and be unable to make a coherent point and just go in circles and just bounce around and just not say anything.
We were quiet during the trial because we all talked to each other and said, hey, the evidence is there. Let's let it play out. Let's this is how we grew up. You believe in the system. You believe in the cop. It was working. It quasi worked. It just kept, Anyway, so this time we decided to speak out, right?
Anyway, like he doesn't. What question are you answering?
A couple of his close friends, a few other people decided we're now going to tell our side of the story because in this whole thing, it's the Karen Reed trial. We're trying to figure out what happened to John O'Keefe. Not that we don't know, but the noise and the nonsense. So what they do is they chill anybody from speaking out. They dig into your backgrounds, or they'll pick on the sides, all the weight, and I'll tell you, I can't believe what this turned into. It's pretty simple.
What? He said nothing. He said nothing. He's literally.
I love it. I just want to let them know that every time you fucking cry about that and say, "Oh, he's attacking the family," I get fucking hard. I love it. I love it. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. The First Amendment protects all this. I've been doing this for a decade, and little bitches.
Just listen to the music. Oh my god, this is such amateur hour production with the evil, sinister. This is the bad guy. Oh my god, dude, read the room.
Like you have been crying and whining about the whole time, and I've gone nowhere. Oh, he went to jail for 60 days. Oh yeah, because I'm lying. Who I made up a lie about a charge that got dropped. That's it. Nothing else. None of these charges are sticking.
That was a video Turtle Boy posted after there had been an onslaught of criticism about his rather unconventional way of covering the story on his blog and his.
And by the way, if Phelps in the next episode, which again I'll play for you guys, and just break down all the lies, whatever. I'm sure the next one's gonna be all about me. He loves me. He's obsessed. But if he says anything about like believing the fake victim at all, him and I had conversations about her. He did not we traded war stories. Apparently he's got a kid. He was in a similar situation where a woman got that he says that she got pregnant basically without him knowing. So he used to just nut inside fucking some whore that he said was like a drug addict or something like that. He was telling me a whole story about how this woman got pregnant by him and had a kid, and he like never sees the kid ever. So there's a kid out there, and he's like, she's crazy. She did this and that and blah, blah, blah. And she's a liar. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm like, okay, that's sucks. That's sorry to hear that, man. So if he even tries this, it's like, just remember that he nutted inside, because I didn't even do that. So it's like, there was no pregnancy with me, with him. He irresponsibly nutted inside some crack whore that he knew was mentally unstable. And then she got pregnant and had a kid that he really doesn't fight very hard to see. Okay. And he's okay with having no relationship with this baby from the crack whore that he knocked up because he didn't understand the Turtle Boy birth control method, which is of course the face. Okay. It's really simple. That's how you avoid pregnancy, my dude. It's not fucking brain surgery. But this guy, he just had the nut in her. He just like, no, I'm not taking it out. I'm going to go right inside. And he had a fucking love child with some crack whore. This is the story, according to him. And he never sees the kid. At least I see all my kids. The fake one that was fake aborted in my real driver, that one never existed. So yeah, this dude, if he even tries any of that shit, that's preemptively what I'm telling you, our conversations. That's what he told me at my dining room table.
YouTube channel. I won't even call this reportage anymore because it's not.
I won't even call it.
How does it feel to be viciously attacked daily, personally attacked, all of that? How does that make you feel?
I'm used to it. It's been this is happening long before the Kerry trial. They were calling me different things a couple years ago, mostly racist, transphobic, homophobic, because I'm conservative. And so that was the previous line of attack on me was that. Now it's I'm covering for a murderer or whatever else they're saying. So I'm used to it. It means nothing to me because the people who are saying it are dishonest. Yep. They're not serious people. They all have a grudge to pick with me for the most part. They're not people whose opinions I'm at all interested in winning over. And the people who matter to me, they know that none of this stuff is true. They know it. So they know that I'm an honest person who only seeks truth and justice in this. I'm rough around the edges, certainly, but my intentions are good. And I certainly haven't broken any laws.
I don't know what to say about those comments. I mean, they are.
Yeah. I'm glad he put that clip in.
Entirely ironic. His intentions are good.
Yeah, good.
Do you think you're a cult leader to a bunch of cultists?
Yeah, I am. My intentions are good. Because I believe Karen Reed is innocent. I know she is. And I believe that John O'Keefe was murdered by those people. So my intentions are to bring public awareness to this and fight for what's right. until nothing's going to stop me. Yeah, my intentions are good. So what about my cultists?
How can I be running a cult with a bunch of people who 2 years ago completely were against everything I stood for? Like I'm a conservative who convinced a bunch of rabid leftists that's like, you should come to my side. I give them the cocktail and convince them. No, these are smart people who are on our side. These are people who are intelligent, who can think for themselves. And if I was lying to them, and if I wasn't backing up.
Listen, you fucking pussy ass bitch. Karen.
Wait, so he goes, I go, I'm not running a cult because I have a lot of, like, you guys wouldn't believe me. If I told lies and I didn't back them up, you wouldn't believe me. You're not here because I'm so charming and convincing, whatever. And then he plays some audio recording that Jennifer McCabe claims that she got, and as proof that I am running a cult, I guess.
When Reed is innocent, you fuckers are going to end up in jail, not the Turtle Boy. That's intimidation of a witness, you stupid fuck. Have a great day. I love that you put it in writing, you stupid pussy ass bitch fuck.
I disguised this person's voice, but that is one of those so-called smart people.
That is one of, so all you smart people out there, I go, there's a lot of smart people who follow me. And he goes, that's what a smart person sounds like. Really? Really? Why don't you play a clip from, I don't know, Melanie Little? She's pretty smart. She seems to be pretty convinced Karen Reed's innocent. Why don't you play Mark Betterow, who you interviewed? I haven't heard him yet on the podcast yet. Mark Betterow is pretty smart, and he seems pretty convinced Karen Reed is innocent. I don't think I could get Mark Betterow to join my cult. I don't think I could do that. Sorry. I don't think a lot of these people would do that. But of course, this guy who claims to be looking for truth and honesty, he uses that person as representative of my fan base or of my following, if you will.
For themselves, leaving a threatening voicemail on Jennifer McCabe's phone.
Who is leading a cult? People on the other side are. Like this nonsense that can't, they're the ones who are ignoring facts, evidence, etc., to pursue this idea that this innocent woman is guilty.
I'm not convinced she's innocent.
You think she's guilty?
Do I think that she could have struck him down in a blackout drunk? Yeah.
If anybody could give me a plausible situation in which Karen Reed killed John, I consider it, but you can't do it. You can't explain how. You can't explain those injuries. You can't do it. You can't explain how not a single person saw a body on that front line. How not a single person heard this happen.
We then discussed all of the major pieces of evidence: the broken taillight pieces embedded in John's clothing, the hair on the bumper, the 24 miles per hour in reverse, the phone data. John didn't go into the house, and yet there is nothing that could convince Turtle Boy that Karen at least could have done this. So there's no pieces embedded in John's clothing.
You can't explain how. You can't explain those injuries. You can't do it. You can't explain how not a single person saw a body on that front line. How not a single person heard.
Yeah, so he doesn't put, yeah, you can't. You can't explain that, can you?
This happened.
We then discussed all of the major pieces of evidence: the broken taillight.
Okay, so the broken taillight that wasn't there when the Canton Police Department searched for it. There. That one solved. Wasn't there.
Pieces embedded in John's clothing.
The pieces embedded in John's clothing never entered into evidence. Never, no, like, wasn't even brought up until 18 months later. Also, how does taillight become embedded inside clothing? Embedded. Microscopic pieces become embedded. That doesn't make any sense. You'd have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe that.
The hair on the bumper.
The hair on the bumper. Oh, you have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe that John got hit by a bumper. I guess he got hit by the bumper now, even though he's fully clothed, and somehow a hair ended up on the bumper that remained on the car all the way to Dighton. And then the 24 miles an hour thing. Oh, you mean the thing that I proved was physically impossible? He plays that in part 7. And I'm like, he does my test. The most important part about that test is that the 62 feet part. That's the part that wasn't brought up. He had somebody on that, I think it was Richie or somebody on that defended me. And the key thing that was missed there is the 62 feet thing. You can reach 24 miles an hour going in reverse. You can, if you just keep accelerating, you can do it, but you can't do it in 62 feet. That's not enough space. You need more distance. You might be able to hit 24 miles an hour after 100 feet, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't want to try it. It sounds scary to even try that, but you might be able to. But you can't do it in 62 feet. There is not enough space for you to accelerate to reach that velocity. You can't do it. That's the whole point.
24 miles per hour in reverse. The phone data. John didn't go into the house.
The phone data. John didn't go into the house. The phone data from the Apple Health data shows that he ascended and descended 3 flights of stairs. Case closed. Case closed. The phone data shows that Jennifer McCabe Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27 and then deleted it. The phone data shows that Brian Albert called Brian Higgins and they talked for 22 seconds at 2:22. That's what the phone data shows, that Nicole Albert answered phone calls at 6:07 and 6:08. That's what the phone data shows.
Yet there is nothing that could convince Turtle Boy that Karen at least could have done this.
So there's no forensic evidence.
Yeah, that couldn't do it. And most importantly, the ARCA guys say it's impossible.
Is it all in your mind that proves she did it?
Nothing. I hit him. That's the strongest piece of evidence. It's all they got is I hit him. Not actual data.
I asked Aidan again about this Colin Albert obsession both he and Karen seem to have. Why? It's clear the evidence shows Colin was not in the house when John arrived. Not even in the neighborhood.
Colin Albert went to 34.
It's clear the evidence shows that he was not there. What evidence? What evidence? His family saying he's not there? That's the evidence? Oh. What forensic evidence shows that he's not there?
Or Fairview Road, because he had to say happy birthday to Brian Albert Jr., who's like the king of France, who has to be waited on and have donuts brought to him during blizzards, and goes over there to tell his cousin to his face, happy birthday. And then when the party starts, when Brian Albert gets back and McCabe's get back, that's when Colin Albert goes, you know what? I'm calling it a night. I came here. How did you get there, by the way? How did Colin Albert get there?
I'm so happy to include
somebody brought you to 34 Fairview Road and dropped you off just so you could go inside and say to your cousin's face, happy birthday, you cousin who's 5 years older than me, who I don't have much in common with. I had to tell you that to your face. I couldn't send a text message to you saying that I had to do it in a blizzard. I had to come over here and tell you that to your face. And then Allie McCabe, his taxi cab, is just going to come pick him up and get him out of there. Allie McCabe doesn't go inside the house, nothing. And that's so suspicious. I mean, that's not believable. Colin Albert was an obvious liar. And the extent to which these people went out of their way to make us believe that he was not in that house and that this is the best that they could come up with. Look at the next time they spoke. February 20th. So we're to believe that minutes after 12:10, when Colin leaves that house, that a person, John O'Keefe, his neighbor, is killed and left on that front lawn. And the next day,
this is great.
Allie McCabe and Colin Albert don't say, oh my God, did you see what happened right after we left? Your neighbor, John O'Keefe, was killed in the house. Oh my God, it's crazy. They don't talk for 3 weeks. Where's those messages? Anyone can delete a message.
Again, none of this is evidence.
Those are such great points. All of that, those are like my greatest points. Yeah. All of that. Like his story makes no sense. Colin Albert's story makes no sense. Sorry. Who drove him there? Have we figured that out yet? So he was driven there by someone so he could say happy birthday to his gay autistic cousin. And then when his fun uncle gets home, he's like, I have to leave and go tuck myself in. And Allie McCabe will come and get me and act as my chauffeur and then drive me back to my house. And Chris Albert's own testimony says that Colin Albert didn't get there till 12:45. That's what Chris testified.
Of anything. In murder investigations, lack of evidence is not evidence.
Colin Albert stirs something up in you.
Well, I'm not stupid. I hate being made to feel stupid, and we're not stupid. We know that like this makes no sense. The story that you're telling makes no sense, and you expect us to believe it. And Colin Albert does stir something up in me because he's a liar, and he's a punk, and he's the face of modern day privilege. The extent in which the most powerful people have gone to protect Colin Albert.
Amen.
Here's a devil's advocate question. How come there's no texts that have emerged of any of the 11 people inside the house discussing the case?
If you were Brian Albert, would you tell them not to do that? If you were orchestrating a cover-up of murder, when you say they're gonna, if they ever want our phones, which there's a good chance they might, right? Do not text. But certainly, we know that these people met up in person to talk on September 25th. Why wouldn't they just be talking on the phone? Because they're paranoid that their phones are tapped by the feds, which is smart.
Yeah. Why was Jennifer McCabe at Elizabeth Proctor's house on September 25th? Because their story is that they were bonding over what Turtle Boy had put them through. They just decided to come together around dinner time and just bond. They couldn't bond on the phone. They couldn't bond via text. They didn't know each other, according to Michael Morrissey a month prior to that. But now they were just bonding in person at 6:00. Okay. Bonding.
They probably were. And so, yeah, I mean, if you like, of course, they would not rate anything too incriminating on their text message. Like, yeah, remember that conspiracy we were involved in?
Every time I mentioned this hard, tangible evidence, which I consider unimpeachable, Turtle just shot back those common talking points Karen's attorneys began using just after representing her.
What?
Finally, I asked Turtle Boy what it would take to get him over the line and consider that Karen Reed could be guilty. Videotape of Karen committing the crime, he said. Nothing less.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. You show me a video of her doing it, I'll believe you. Which the house across the street had a Ring camera video. Oh, but it doesn't pick up stuff past 30 feet. Maybe they should have asked. They could have asked to look at it, right? And either way, it might not. If you say it wouldn't pick up video of it, fine. It would pick up the sound. It would be quite a thud, wouldn't it?
Heading toward the end of the summer, 2023, however, Karen Reed and Turtle Boy had a big problem.
Present is Brian Tully, Massachusetts State Police. You understand that you're talking to us here on this recording.
Natalie.
Yes,
Natalie.
indicating that if you were truthful and honest during this conversation, you would get an immunity letter.
That intermediate friend of Karen's, who had facilitated contact between Karen and Turtle Boy, she flips and begins talking with the Massachusetts State Police. Please subscribe to my weekly podcast, Crossing the Line with M.William Phelps, with new episodes dropping every Tuesday night at midnight. Coming up next week on Crossing the Line with M.William Phelps presents 34 Fairview Road.
Jennifer McCabe is a murderer. Like, full stop, that's it. She's a murderer. She did it. She actively participated in the murder of John O'Keefe. I can't stress that enough. I'm begging them to sue me if it's not true. They haven't done it yet. She actively participated in the murder of John O'Keefe. So they want to be able to find a jury pool that has never heard of any of this shit before, so that they can manipulate them the same way that they've manipulated everyone else. And I'm not allowing them to do that.
This is way after Karen knows everything. Karen knew everything by the time Aidan got this information. She knew it all. She just didn't have a way to put it out. No one in the news was taking it. She reached out to Karen. She said, I can help you. Well, she said, there's a lady that's always in your favor. She said, this is a travesty. This is not real. This is a setup. And this lady is talking this way. So Karen goes, okay, reach out to her and see what we can do. She does. She reaches out to this lady and she said, listen, I'm a very good friend of Karen Reed's. How can we exploit the information?
34.
By the way, all you people, the 5 of you left that are still supporting Krusty and the Gulf, this is what Sean
Fairview Road is a production.
We can do. She does. She reaches out to this lady and she said, listen, I'm a very good friend of Karen Reed's. How can we exploit the information?
That's what Sean just said about Karen Reed, is that she reached out and said, how can we exploit this information? But Sean's on the good side, right? Krusty on the Gulf, he's on the good side. He's just going on and proudly bragging that he's helping out this guy who is putting out a podcast that says Karen Reed is guilty. And your boy is bragging about doing it on Twitter. So just understand, if you're one of these people supporting Sean of the Gulf, this is what you're supporting. Sean of the Gulf is a terrible, lying old man, okay, who I called him out on his lies, because Michael Proctor, unfortunately, hasn't been fired. As much as I would love to say that Michael Proctor has been fired, the fact of the matter is that he hasn't. That would make my case a lot easier if Michael Proctor was fired. But Sean's lying. So there's that. Okay. Why don't we do a couple turtle chats here now that we got through that horrible thing? So anyway, I just wanted, it was the Birchmore stuff that was just most offensive, because he's just lying. He's just lying about, and that was their big surprise that they had today. A hit piece on Turtle Boy. Ooh, never seen that before. Easily debunked when I went through and just showed the actual audio. Everything I said was true. All of it backed by facts. He lied about what I was actually saying. And if he gave a shit about the Sandra Birchmore case, how come he's not anywhere in his coverage of the Sandra Birchmore case did he mention anything about Nicholas Garino and John Fanning immediately classifying this as a suicide and not going through all of these text messages? Nothing. He never mentions that, because he's too consumed with me. He makes the whole thing about me and things that I said on Turtle Cult, okay? On the sex cult, as we call it. That's it. So this is supposed to be and this is what I do to people. This is supposed to be a serious podcast about the Karen Reed case, and it's just turned into a Turtle Boy bad thing. That's all it is. So, okay, let me read some turtle chats here to end the night. Let's see what we got here. Christy sends $25 and goes, can you please speak about the incident that made Chris the cunt Albert cry? Love you, Turtle Boy. Free Karen Reed. I don't know much about it. It's first I'm hearing about it now. I don't know. Thank you. $10 from Elena. It says, I'm a proud turtle rider. You make Saturday nights. I never stop laughing. You're an amazing person. So M. Krusty Phelps can go fuck himself. I believe the McCabe's are also paying Hank Brennan as they are desperate to get Karen convicted. Well, they're not paying him enough because he's having a tough time. Hank Brennan has a mangina, and Chris Albert killed a man. That's true. God bless you, Dr. Turtleboy. P.S. Jim Ferris is rude. Yes. Yes, he is. Chad sends $5 and goes, Turtleboy, Have someone make a meme using Phelps' image of 34 Fairview, but change the lettering to 32 Fairview. Use the same font, same coloring of letters. This will send a message. I don't know what message that will send, but thank you. PH sends $5, goes, the number of people obsessed with you is utterly astonishing. Never seen anything like it. They spent Thanksgiving talking about you. Did they? Again, I didn't really read much. I mean, I guess they were people like, oh, do you see they have something planned? They said they have big news coming. Yeah, they say that a lot. What was the big news? Phelps podcast? That went over well. Again, I could get mad about this podcast, but again, it's just another hit piece on me, and I don't give a shit. And ultimately, I'm going to get paid for it. So every time the trolls download it, I get paid 40%. Period. That's it. I got a contract. It says I got 40% of all revenue. So there's that. And if they want to fuck around with that, I got lawyers too. And Matt Valentinus has done a lot of ethical things. We can go play around with his BBO, and we can do that too if he wants to go that route. Or they can do the right thing, the ethical thing, and just give me my 40% off of this shitty fucking podcast. Period. All right, next up. Frank sends $5, goes 504 Bunker Hill Road, Coventry, Connecticut. Fuck you, Phelps. Okay. Again, I read what's sent to me in the turtle chats. Thank you. Laura sends $10, goes, I know it was unexpected, but I can't unsee that. Free Karen Reed, free Turtle Boy, justice for OJO. Yeah, things got a little dicey tonight. There was a dick earlier on that forced us to do a second stream. And then I talked about Leah Genduso being into fingers in the butthole. We talked about that for a bit. That was news. Okay, so thank you very much. NH Saint sends $25 and goes, how many new Halloween characters for next year? Phelps, Brennan, etc. I know. Hopefully there is no Halloween party next year. 2 is enough. No more Halloween parties. I want this to be over by Halloween next year. Thank you. PJ sends $5, says, if I was being falsely accused of a crime, there's nobody I would rather have on my side. Keep doing what you're doing. Good luck on Monday. Well, thank you, PJ. I appreciate that. Gracie's mom sends $25 and goes, that wound on John's knee was from what they call an IO, which is an inch something. Okay. Which they would have done instead of an IV was needed for attempted life-saving measures. Of course, cracked a rib from CPR. Phelps is a complete idiot. You're an amazing human, Aidan, for all you've done and continue to do. Well, thank you very much, Gracie's mom. I love you. Thank you. Romy sends $25 and goes, Jesus Christ, what was that? What was that what Phelps meant by a big surprise for you? Hashtag for you. $25. So thank you. I guess that's it. I don't know. Thank you. John Hawkins sends $25 and says, in loving memory of Sheila. I really thought for a while she was Unk's mistress while I was away. See, there's this woman. She goes by Sheila Hawkins on Facebook, and she has been messaging me for years, and she was a really good lady, and we had a lot of good talks on there, and big supporter of what I do over at Turtle Boy. It has been for years, and I became aware that she had cancer, and she was very honest with me. It was terminal, and she passed away a few days ago, and this is her husband, John, who sent me $25 today and had still able to find humor in this. And he says, in loving memory of Sheila, I really thought for a while that she was Unk's mistress. Well, I was away because we talked so much. So again, it's interesting that you have these relationships with people who you've never met. Although I have met her. She came in 2019 when Hadassah tried to get a restraining order on me in Milford District Court. Remember that? And she came and I met her there. That's how long she's been a turtle rider for. So she was a good lady. And John, my thoughts and prayers are with you, my friend. Cancer is a horrible thing. See, that's the thing about terminal cancer is eventually you die from it. And that's what makes it so fucked up about what Plevin is doing with his cancer shit. It's like having cancer if Plevin had just said, I'm a cancer survivor, right? I have cancer. I had cancer. I'm taking medication, and I'm beating it. That's fine. But Plevin said he had terminal cancer, and he started a GoFundMe 6 years ago saying that he had a 1% chance of surviving 5 years. He said that. It's now been 6 years. And he claims we're just supposed to take his word for it that he's, I'm going to die any day now. Terminal cancer. And this is what makes it so offensive when you see what happens to people like Sheila who get terminal cancer, or my mother, or many millions of other people who have died from cancer. And then you have Plevin on there saying that he has terminal cancer. Fuck him. Like, fuck him. Fuck him for every single person who's lost a family member to cancer, that fucking piece of shit is on YouTube pretending to have terminal cancer so that you will give him money. That is the worst form of grifting ever. And I hope he burns in hell for it. He's a horrible person. And that's who Phelps's new boy is. And again, Phelps is the kind of guy who creates children and then doesn't raise them. That's what Phelps does. He's got a child out there who doesn't see daddy ever. Just remember that. That's who Phelps is at his core. Ask Phelps about his love child. Ask him about that. If it was me, I'd be fighting a little harder. Be fighting a little harder to see my kid, but not Phelps. He's too busy doing his podcasts, his big podcasts. Oh yeah, the kid's gone. I mean, it's not with him. The kid lives with the crack whore that he knocked up. He nutted inside her, and then he was shocked when she got pregnant because it's almost like that's how babies are born. Yeah, and so he doesn't see the baby. Yeah, he did that. Nice job, Phelpsy. All right. Next up. Okay. Actually, I think let me just refresh. Okay. Let me got the cash apps here. Let's see. Wendy sends $5 and goes, "Today's my birthday. I love my birthday too. Love all that you do, Aidan." And she sent it yesterday at 10:56 p.m. So November 30th is Wendy's birthday. Happy birthday, Wendy, and I appreciate the dono. Thank you very much. Happy birthday. Chad sends $5, goes, "Is Phelps reporting against KR to spite you?" That is exactly what he's doing. Exactly what he's doing. He's just another one. He's just another Plevin. He's just another Krusty. He's just another one of them, except he owns podcast equipment. So there's that. There you go. Lisa sends $20 and goes, "Chris Albert needs to step down." Yeah. Long time ago. Thank you very much, Lisa. Amber sends $50 and goes, "A bottle of tequila, a cattle prod solves dipshits." Okay. Thank you very much, Amber. I appreciate that. Pierpont sends $10 and goes, "Not liking turkey is controversial." I don't think it's that controversial. Thank you very much, Pierpont. Amber also sends $100. I think it's the same Amber, and says, "For exposing drifters and panty waists." Okay. Drifters. I don't know if I went after the drifters or the panty waists, but I still appreciate that, Amber. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let me just refresh Turtle Chat. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Anyone have any questions they want me to answer before we call it a night? It's been a late one. These shows are going later and later. It's 12:30. Holy shit. But we still got 4,000 of you people listening, which is just wild. Yeah, that's the thing, is the podcast did have potential. You know, if you were to do this right, it could be done the right way. I was excited to do a podcast with like a good podcaster. That's what I was told by Valentinus that he was. I trusted the guy who's paid to look out for my best interests. Oops. Can you frost your tips and do a weird photo shoot in the woods? Maybe, Brian. Maybe just for you. Yeah, I did a story on that, T-Bird. I did write a story on that. I forget what happened. They never got the geofence data. They never got it because Proctor never applied for it. Yeah, Brandy's podcast is 1,000,000 times better than this, than Douchebags. It's great. Do I think Morrissey's paying him? No, I don't think Morrissey's paying him. I just think he just doesn't like me. It's that simple. I'm the one that brought up Chris crying. Somebody in the comments said something. I responded to it. And I knew that he was at the Legion the other day and the people were giving him a hard time. Again, I didn't make him do that. Did Dylan 100% not play because of the article or because he was I don't know why, but he didn't play. That's for sure. Phelps does have TDS bad. Bad. He caught it hard, man. All right. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night, guys. I love all you fine people. And thank you for, joining me tonight. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. Leave a comment. You know the deal by now. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see. And don't forget to use the Turtle Boy birth control method. Okay. Because you don't want any, Phelps babies out there. We don't want to see anything like that. So, pull out, give the pearl necklace, come everywhere, just not inside, because we don't need any more love children out there. All right, baby? No more real driveway, real fake abortions. We don't need any of that. All right. We'll see you guys all for the next episode of the live show on Tuesday. And we'll see you guys in court, hopefully on Monday. All right. Peace, Turtle Riders.